The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Get $40 off a furnace or AC tune-up, or double your savings and get $80 off when you get them done at the same time. Visit standardheating.com to save now.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
Spring break is here. Right now, every college kid is like, it's okay, I'm just studying for St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, spring break can get pretty wild right now. Every bar in Florida has about 1,000 people dressed like John Cena at the Oscars.
This is gonna be the best spring break ever.
Cannot believe I'm spending spring break in sucky Jenkintown instead of on a Fort Lauderdale beach the way God intended.
I heard that the beer flows like water down there. Like literally, you turn the faucet on and boom, beer.
That's because all their water is reserved for wet t-shirt contests.
Do you guys know what spring break is about? Wet t-shirt contests, mud wrestling.
Spring break safety tips. Never go anywhere without a friend. That way you'll have someone to hold your hair back when you vomit behind a dumpster. And don't drink too much. You'll need those brain cells when you return to campus.
Unless you go to St. Cloud State.
Then go nuts.
Spring break, spring break.
Showtime!
Spring break. It's a hell of a deal. An absolute hell of a deal. Thanks for listening to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. It's going to be a great day. Spring break, huh? Where are we going?
I've never been on a spring break, so I'm the wrong guy to ask.
South Padre Island? Are we going to South Padre Island? I remember that being a big deal.
Senior frogs.
I also remember, as my dad used to say, are we going to go to Matzalan?
Sure, Matza.
Cozumel, Daytona Beach.
A buddy of mine, he's a teacher at a prestigious school, high school, and a lot of wealthy folks there. And he was asked by a couple of his students, well, where are you going to spring break? And he said, nah, we're not. It's not something we usually do. And they looked at him as if he were an alien and that he were somehow homeless all of a sudden. They just didn't understand it. They're going to all these exotic locations for spring break, tradition in their wealthy families, but he's, as a teacher, he's not necessarily rolling in it, so he wasn't able to take his family of four to any fancy places.
We're signing up for the wet t-shirt contest. We're going to get our hair braided.
We're going to wear a bracelet that we're not going to take off for 6 months.
We're going to get laid. We're going to get in a fight.
Ah, yes, the cornrows, where students would come back with the cornrows.
Mm-hmm.
Tans.
And like Ashley said, the bracelets from the different clubs you went to that you leave on your wrist for like 3 to 4 weeks for some reason, just to let everybody know that you went on spring break and you partied.
I was never one of those kids, but my boyfriend was one of those people that went to Mexico and always had like a spring break. And I'm like, what's that like? What?
So none of us here have been on an official spring break, like something you see on MTV back in the day?
Nah, we chill at home.
Vacations right here.
Yep.
Yeah, it's about what we did too.
I could not afford that.
Didn't leave the house.
I'd be waiting at home. My friends would come back and tell me all sorts of cool stories. I'd be like, well, I went to Blockbuster and I rented some video games.
I have a Senior Frog shot glass because of one of my friends went to Senior Frog.
Oh, that's sweet of them. My parents, the only vacation we ever went on, it was off season. it was not spring break. But that was really cool. I was really lucky. My parents, when I was like 14, 15, I got a chance to go to the Virgin Islands. And that was so awesome. I right then and there, I realized like, wow, those kids that went to Mexico every year, I understand the hype. This is incredible.
Sure looked fun when Pauly Shore was out there back in the day hosting a spring break party.
Yeah.
Yeah, all my bros went on multiple spring breaks, when we were seniors in high school and then throughout the college years. I never had the opportunity or as a friend of mine would say, I never had the funds. No funds. But I heard something now. I heard that, forget about the college kids, because they're 20, 21, 22. I heard that high school seniors, the gimmick where high school seniors take off for spring break on their own, I hear that gimmick has come and gone. That now they are almost always accompanied by their parents.
I bet.
Probably the movie Taken might have had something to do with that.
Yeah, when my boyfriend talks about his spring break trips and I believe it was actually only in high school. Yeah, mom was always there.
That's bizarre to me.
But the way that they did it when he tells me stories is that like all the moms kind of stayed in their own like couple hotel rooms.
It doesn't
and then they
matter.
let all the boys do whatever.
See, the thing is, it wouldn't matter to me. My mom is still there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you can't be too raunchy with your mama within a mile radius.
I'll get raunchy with your mama, but I don't remember what was told to me the exact reason why. Now, all of a sudden, high school seniors aren't taking off on their own to go buck wild in Mott Salon, but I heard it's not a thing anymore. The parents accompany them. Maybe it is out of concern for their safety.
Maybe just the resorts are cracking down on that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe
shoot,
that's
you can't
why.
get into a movie theater after 6, 7 p.m. if you're not accompanied by an adult.
It almost seems like the sign of the times, though, because it seems like more kids are hanging out with their parents a lot more.
More kids are hanging out with their parents a lot more.
Yeah. Like I see it around town. Like, you know, you'll go to a restaurant on like a Saturday night and there's some kids sitting there, like maybe 21. You know, they're not drinking nowadays.
Okay.
Oh,
I
yeah,
didn't
that's
I
true.
didn't know these things.
Young people are very much slowing down on the drinking, switching to weed.
Okay, yeah, we've heard that before. Again, you guys are always wanting to push marijuana. You always bring that up because you want to push marijuana on the young people.
Smoke marijuana.
I don't
Say
know.
yes to drugs.
I don't know anything about young people hanging out with their parents more often. You know what else? I also heard. Josh had something in the intro about St. Cloud State. What did you say there, Josh? What was the joke?
The joke was about, you be careful. You don't want to kill too many brain cells. But if you go to St. Cloud State, don't worry about it. You're fine.
Okay.
You don't have
Already
any
gone.
authority.
Gone.
I was hanging out with a younger crowd here a couple nights ago. Some friends of mine's children. There you go, Wapple. There's your proof. These young people were hanging out with us old farts. Mm-hmm. That backs up what you said. These young kids, 21, 22, right, were part of this gathering. And it didn't take long for me and my buddy to start telling old war stories of our party days in high school and at St. Cloud State. And this 21, 22-year-old gal says, I wasn't aware of this. Apparently nowadays, St. Cloud State, not cool at all.
Oh, really?
Not cool.
I have heard that attendance has dwindled from the place that I used to go to college. I went to St. Cloud State for a couple of years.
In the 80s and the early 90s, this was my experience. If you said, I'm signed up to go to, or I go to St. Cloud State, people would go, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Right on.
You're going to be partying.
St. Cloud State.
Yep.
It had this party vibe and this kind of a cool vibe. She took... Again, news to me, this 22-year-old gal said nowadays, if you tell a 20, 19, 21-year-old person you go to St. Cloud State, this is how she played it out. She said, they all react by saying, ugh.
Did she say what's cool now? Like, well, what's the one that will impress young people now?
Unfortunately, we didn't get that far. The topic changed, but I was just kind of grabbed by that.
I hate to say it, but
I said, really? Is that? And she said, yeah, it's just nowadays if you say you go to SCSU, the hip young people go, ooh.
It seems like a lot of kids are starting to go to Mankato State.
No, a lot of old people are going to Mankato State.
Yeah, they're not kids, Wapple. They're 30, 31. They play for the hockey team, but I see what you mean.
Do you think I could get enrolled? I'm 31.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You'd be a shoo-in, Wapple.
But you're terrible at hockey.
Yeah. You guys want some power plays? I'm good at drawing penalties.
Nick, even when I was in high school, that was the reaction when people said they were going to St. Cloud.
It was headed in that direction.
Right.
Even how old are you now?
26.
So even 7, 8 years ago, it was headed in that direction. I didn't catch that in that story until just a couple nights ago.
You didn't get that in the St. Cloud State newsletter?
Last that I remember, it was I don't know if it's still the same, but Winona was the have fun. That's going to be crazy. Have fun trying to learn when you go there.
Winona.
Yep, Winona.
This is only the second time I've ever heard of someone actually going to Winona.
I remember Stout being one, like people, Stout or St. Cloud, you thought, oh boy, they're big partiers. They're going to those schools. I remember that in high school.
River Falls now, too.
Yeah.
River Falls, Wisconsin.
I remember my uncle would always say, when in doubt, go to Stout.
A few people are texting in on why older kids are hanging out with their parents. They're saying things like, that's because it's too expensive. They can't pay for anything anymore.
So
the parents have to.
are paying.
That's a good point.
And that some people have to live with their folks until they're in their 30s at this point.
That is true.
Yeah, you can't make fun of somebody for living with their parents in their 30s anymore.
Too expensive.
Well, lots can
So
change in
expensive.
30-some years, but that little tidbit of information grabbed me.
Yeah,
I like that our older kids want to hang out with us. I always assume, like sometimes my wife will say, hey, maybe they'd want to do this. And usually I think there's no way they're going to want to do that. They're not going to, well, don't set us up for rejection like that. That's hurtful if they turn it down. Hey, you want to do this?
I want to go with
No.
you.
No, but it's you're right. It's different. It's great. For me, I'm glad. I never hung out with my folks
Me
after I
neither.
moved out. Outside, going to see them and stuff. But yeah, we never went out. Or we never did anything like that. It just didn't. It was not. I don't want to say not normal as in something's wrong. It just wasn't common, I should say.
I love hanging out with my parents.
My folks were always pretty fun to hang out with, too. People are texting in all kinds of information on what's the cool school to go to now, what's the party school to go to, all this and that.
Eau Claire has come up a couple times.
Some of you are saying nasty things. Eau Claire?
Mm-hmm.
All right, fair enough.
I did some things I'm not proud of in Eau Claire, and I had some friends that went there.
Yeah, I had cousins that went there too.
Was that like Water Street or something? I think no, it's I can't remember the street, but they have a street with just a whole lineup of bars.
Sentimental Street.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Sentimental Street.
Never been there.
See, folks are saying nasty things. I'm not going to say which school, but a couple folks have texted in referenced a college. When I say school, I mean college. And they're talking about something called 13 Floors of Whores. I'm not going to repeat the school because what you're saying is nasty and terrible.
I bet the school would appreciate you saying the school out loud. Maybe it's going to get a couple applications.
Our enrollment is skyrocketing today.
They just crumple up their acceptance letter to Stanford.
Yeah.
Where's this one?
Can I get scholarships?
Things change, Cubby.
I know. Yeah, I hadn't heard that about St. Cloud State.
Makes me want to re-enroll and try to bring it back.
Go back and
You want
party?
to re-enroll.
Yeah, re-enroll St. Cloud State and try to restore its reputation.
I'll tell you, that would be helpful if a nearly 40-year-old man could go back to college and start partying with these 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds.
Wouldn't be creepy at all.
I just watched a movie about that. It's like the re-education of Molly Singer. It's on Netflix.
I watched a movie like that, too. It was called Old School.
That was good. Or Back to School. How about Back to School? That was a good one.
Oh, God, I remember...
Oh, I can't even imagine.
I remember when we were about 20 years old, living up at St. Cloud State, tiny little apartment, which of course we turned into a garbage can, within a week. But I mean, we loved it, and we raised so much hell and had so much fun. But then there was also trouble, fights, and going to jail and whatnot. But that's what life was all about when we were 20.
A good friend. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was.
No. On the topic of an old fart like Dana. Trying to reinstate the coolness by re-enlisting or whatever the word is. A friend of mine's, I'm going to say he was 40. A friend of mine's 40-year-old neighbor came up to St. Cloud to visit us. He's a 40-year-old man, married man with kids. Came up and spent the weekend in this garbage pile apartment because he was the cool neighbor growing up, right? My buddy could party with him, right? Okay. And the guy and at the time, I didn't think anything of it. Cool, man. What's up, Donnie? 40-year-old guy, friends with my neighbors to my friend. A few years after that, I looked back and said, there was something wrong with that guy. What the hell was he doing up there? And he was, hitting on the girls.
Oh, no.
He was drinking, staying up till 4 or 5 a.m. with us. And again, when I'm 20, I thought, that's kind of cool that Donnie will still... Now I think Donnie was creepy. He was wrong.
Yeah,
What he did was wrong.
My nephew goes.
He's sleeping on the floor with 20-year-old kids. People are throwing up in the corner. He's sleeping.
My nephew goes to college in New York, and he's told me multiple times, like, I gotta get you out here. I gotta get you out here to like party with me. And I mean, I'm 26, and I still think I'm way too old to be hanging out with college kids.
Oh, get over yourself.
The whole time I'd be nervous.
You're not that. That's ridiculous. You're perfect age for that.
Absolutely not. Bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds? That sounds like a nightmare.
Who the hell I had so much fun at that age going up to my buddies like at UMD and partying in Duluth. God, those years were fun.
Yeah, what are you doing? You're doing it all wrong.
Yeah.
You're 26 years old. You're not 39. Wapo and I go party with the 20-year-olds this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
No, actually, you've got a point. With how litigious things are and how crazy things are, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near what goes on with an 18-year-old at a party. I'd stay away, even if I was 26.
Okay, fine.
Absolutely, that makes me nervous.
No, I'm out.
Okay. 18 years old is different. You said college kids. I'm picturing 22, 21-year-old. You're only 26. Okay, fine. I'm just saying you're missing out on a good time. 18 is different. 21, 22, what the hell? Go party.
If there was a way that I could like ID everybody in the party first, make sure everybody was old enough to drink.
Hey,
like, all right, let's go.
I'd also
do this now.
I'd want background checks just to make sure none of them are trouble.
I didn't realize you were such a serious, straight-laced person.
I just don't want to get messed up in that. Don't want to get tangled in that.
That's not a bad idea. You be cautious.
Especially because my nephew, based on like his he belongs to a frat.
Oh, God.
Like he's the typical frat bro. Actually, Jimmy Fallon stopped by their frat like this past weekend. Thought that was weird.
Film something?
No, he was just like chilling, and he's got like a couple selfies with him. Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Crazy.
Are you sure it wasn't a dude that looked like Jimmy Fallon?
No, dude, I'm sure. I lost it.
There's rumors or not rumors. It's confirmed the dude likes to party. I don't know if he's still doing that or anything.
I don't think it was in in New York. I'm not exactly sure where. But he wasn't like partying with him. I think he was just stopping by, kind of being like, "Hey guys, how's everybody doing?"
All right, I'm not buying it. Did they stop by Brainerd and hang out with Tom Cruise while they were at it?
Yes.
Yeah, Wapple, man. Wapple was, when you were 26, Wapple said he'd go to the bars and 21, 22-year-olds, right, Wapple?
Oh, yeah.
He's the definition of cool over there.
Yeah,
and
Mr. Cool.
And then they'd
Can't
say,
get me out.
"How old are you, bro?" And he'd say, 26. And they'd all go, 26?
Yeah.
You're grown.
And I said, watch me try to chug this beer.
Why'd you try?
Yeah. You get half of it down, and you're near throwing up. Oh,
yeah.
the acid reflux.
Yeah, acid. Oh, my stomach's full. I had too much to eat, guys.
Do you guys have any Tums in your purse?
I thought it was pretty funny. A friend of mine went to St. Cloud State. She lived in an all-girls on-campus housing facility, and they called it the cockpit.
Oh, nice.
I love that.
Yeah, there actually is news reports of Jimmy Fallon at a party in upstate New York at a fraternity.
Yeah, I'm about to send you a picture, Josh.
None of this stuff ever happened.
People are texting to confirm he talked about it on the show.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
He talked about it.
About stopping by a frat house on the show.
Yeah, it never happened.
Yeah, he belongs to one of those rich people ones, too.
Nick's a conspiracy theorist.
Can't believe these friggin' stories. What else
All
is
right,
going on?
that's Jimmy Fallon. If you're saying that's where it was, that's definitely Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah. That's so cool.
People seem pretty excited about it. Look at all those people kind of hiding in the background taking photos.
I know, that was my favorite part.
It's unbelievable. What else is going on? Marcus Foligno of the Minnesota Man Bear Pigs. He's going to join us on the radio at 8 a.m.
Funny dude.
He's pumped. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, we like him.
Well, we got lucky.
Yeah, we did.
Ashley, what's this about you having a filthy, not safe for broadcast Wi-Fi handle? What is this? You sent us an email about this.
Yeah. My boyfriend, I let him pick the Wi-Fi handle.
Oh, your boyfriend is to blame.
Yeah, so the first one I turned down. I was like, that's too much. I'm a woman. I don't think I can confidently use that word in the Wi-Fi handle.
Oh, wow. We're talking about the C word.
Yeah, yep.
Your
It
boyfriend
started with
wanted
Mike
to put
still, too, yep.
Mike, your boyfriend wanted to put the C word in. First off, does everyone have a cute Wi-Fi handle here in the 4 or 5 of us?
No.
Oh, it's very...
Just kind of boring.
Something you can remember.
Mine is WrestleMania.
Love that.
See, mine's the same as the password, so I don't forget.
Oh, smart.
No one will figure that out.
So you have a dirty Wi-Fi handle.
Yep.
right.
It is Mike.
Wait a minute. What? You're going to say it? Don't get us in trouble.
No, I was going to leave a lot of space in between.
Sure.
So it is Mike.
Yep. The first name is that. Okay, I
And
understand.
the last name is Hawk.
Sure.
Yep.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Yep.
I'm sure your neighbors are like, great, that's awesome.
I was like, you know what? I've never had something cute and funny. Why not? Because I get a kick out of that if I open up Wi-Fi and, it's something funny and cute like that.
Good for you.
Some of my neighbors I've learned about, like I learned my next door neighbors are Packer fans from their Wi-Fi name. Somebody else wrote "Stay Out." And somebody, and this is an old joke, but FBI security van or surveillance van, excuse me.
Okay, now I know what gimmick you guys are talking about. Okay.
My favorite one was an apartment I lived in my 20s after college, and I moved in and I was searching for Wi-Fi. My internet hadn't gotten hooked up yet, and one of their Wi-Fi password or titles from a neighbor was "Want to split Wi-Fi? Unit 235." And then I went and knocked on the door, and we just split Wi-Fi from then on.
That's awesome. I like when they go back and forth with each other. Like you've got 2 Wi-Fi people with Wi-Fi, whatever, and it'll say like, "I watch you shower" will be one, and then the other one will be, "I like when you watch."
I haven't seen something like that before.
That's fun when they go back and forth.
Kidney Stone Jesus said his is "yell penis for password."
That's good. It's good.
Like this one, 2 girls, 1 router.
Oh, that's good too.
Wi-Fi. Okay, I wasn't sure what we were talking about, but
Here you go. Pretty fly for a Wi-Fi from Red Ram Monster Truck Jesus.
there's that one dude. Remember that guy, Josh, who was standing in my driveway stealing my Wi-Fi?
Oh, yeah. Where the cops had to come?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
It was the weirdest damn deal. As you can tell, still to this day, I'm not exactly sure what it means to be Wi-Fi, right? I'm not dialed into this. And I was even more clueless. I don't know what this was 7 or 8 years ago. It was the end of the night. I turn off all the lights in the house. I'm going to bed. And I see something glowing very brightly at the end of my driveway. And I had to really kind of press my face up against my front window to figure. And I looked. Well, it's an adult holding a computer in their face, staring into a laptop. And I just thought, what in the hell? I had never seen anything like that in my life. And the guy's there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And finally, I called the non-emergency number. I called the cops and I said, "Would you swing somebody by here?" I said, "There's some dude standing in my driveway and he's got a computer out and he's staring into it." And the cop, I don't know, 2 minutes later, I see a cop stop in front of my property, get out of the car, talk to the guy, and the guy walks away, but not completely away. He walks like a half a block. Well, then my phone rings, and it's the cop. And he says, "Yeah, I talked to your guy there." And I said, "Well, what in God's name is he doing?" And the cop says, "He's stealing your Wi-Fi." He's watching a movie.
What?
What a convenient place to watch a movie. I'm just going to stand in this guy's driveway and catch up on Mission Impossible 4.
And I didn't even understand what that meant, And the cop had to explain it to me. And I think I hung up after saying, something like, I don't remember what I said, but I was very, very confused by the whole thing.
I'm assuming you locked it down after that. Yes.
Attach a good password to that thing?
I probably told somebody, who maybe I was living with or dating at the time what had happened, and maybe they did that for me. I wouldn't know how to.
Darn, I was thinking impromptu movie time at Nick's. Just everyone in the front lawn.
Yeah, some blankets and popcorn.
Yeah.
That would be effing funny if I looked out. If I looked out and saw you.
Just what, you and the Doink Gang?
Yeah. That would be funny.
Watching Hot Shots or something like that.
Dazed and confused.
Funny Wi-Fi names from the Brother and Sisterhood. This person's Wi-Fi is It Burns When IP.
That's good.
The oddball Jesus said, I named my TVs and speakers Titanic, so when I have to use my Bluetooth, it says Titanic is sinking, SYNC.
Love that.
Another IP joke, Diesel Tech Jesus. My wife chose our Wi-Fi. It hurts when IP. How about Local 34 Jesus, who said, want Wi-Fi? Come talk to Daddy, and then mentioned nobody stopped by. Bill Y, the Science Fi.
That's brilliant.
From Ginger Machine Jesus. How about Luke, I am your router. Crazy Fish Guy Jesus.
Oh, people are creative.
Hide your kids, hide your Wi-Fi. There's a few of those.
I've heard of these before, yeah.
Nacho Wi-Fi.
That's fun.
Fun Size Jesus said, it took me a second to get this, but this is good. Ours is called We Don't Have Wi-Fi, so when people ask, that's what you say. And you got people a few times, hey, what's your Wi-Fi? It's We Don't Have Wi-Fi. Not a crack house, Dozer Daddy Jesus said. That's his neighbor's Wi-Fi name.
Hell of a deal. Hell of a deal. Yeah, there's some folks out there who know how to have some laughs. All right, we better get cooking. We better get headed in the right direction. Like I said, we got Marcus Foligno coming up a little later. Brad Ryder and Randy Shaver. Thanks for dialing us in here. And if you're on your way to spring break, come back with all your limbs. And with a few bucks in your pocket. Don't spend all your money for you crazy folks heading off on spring break. We'll be right back on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Grace here, customer service rep at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Our customers are our top priority, whether that's providing same-day service or solving a cooling issue for that addition on your home. Ashley, tell our listeners about this month's AC specials.
Get started on your spring cleaning checklist now. With the weather warming up, it's the perfect time to get your AC tuned up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get $40 off a furnace or AC tune-up, or double your savings and get $80 off when you get them done at the same time. Visit standardheating.com to save now.
What companies would you want to work for? Just Capital is a nonprofit that tracks which companies are a force for good. Companies like Bank of America, which just earned the prestigious Just Capital 2024 seal. Bank of America is ranked #1 in the banking industry and #1 for their ongoing commitment to workers, offering best-in-class benefits, including a minimum wage of $25 an hour by 2025. Visit justcapital.com to learn how a just business is a better business.
Furnished by Just Capital.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
I'll tell you something, Cubby. You know this already. Effing Australia is sneaking up on Florida to try and take the title of stupidest place on earth.
It kind of seems like it, doesn't it?
I'm damn tired of talking about Australia.
Like what? Tell me exactly what you hate so much about Australia. If you could, just a couple examples.
I'm only going to give the Australians a couple more chances out of respect for Triumph, one of my all-time favorite rock bands who is from Australia. I'm going to give them a couple more chances because of Triumph. Fight the good fight.
Yep.
Lay it on the line.
Lay it on the line.
That's the song. Lay it on the line.
God, those drums sound huge in that song.
Boom.
Just massive.
That's right. It's because they're Australian. Everything's bigger in Australia.
Now all I can picture is a little guy on like a 15-foot drum set.
It's the same old story all over again. Wapple, you take the next line.
Oh, boy, I don't know.
You turn a lover into just another friend. I want to love you. I want to make you mine. But what do they got to do, Wapple?
Lay it on the line.
And then the drummer goes,
yeah.
Tired of playing foolish games. All right. I'm giving Australia another chance or two just for triumph.
Magic Power was a good song.
Yeah, Magic Power.
Oh, I like that one.
You're young, you're wild, you're free. You got the magic power up inside of me.
Door swinging truck driver Jesus hates this about Australia. The damn maple syrup. Come on. Why do we need so much?
Yeah.
They're obsessed with it.
They got so many trees down there. Get them out of here.
This here is a story of great stupidity, but also honesty, which isn't a thing anybody believes in anymore. So there's a silver lining here. We get to talk about a little bit of good old-fashioned honesty. An inmate was mistakenly released from a prison there in Australia because of what they call here an administrative error. But the sumbitch, the inmate, called the police on the telephone as soon as he found out that they were looking for him. Corey Hastings is the name of the inmate. He's up to 30 years old now. The folks at the prison turned him loose a couple days ago. He must have thought he had miscounted how many days he had left in there. But like I said, he was honest about it and let the cops know where he was so they could come pick him up and bring him on back to the Stony Lonesome. He saw that he was wanted on the television news. I bet that's a surreal moment in a person's life.
Oh, I can't imagine the panic I'd have.
Mm-hmm. After, I don't know how much time he was in the cooler, but he probably had a big bucket of fried chicken or pizza, hamburgers. He's like gorging himself on good, greasy, fast food. Oh, I'm finally out of prison. Then he looks up on the TV. We're coming for you, Corey. You know what I mean? I bet that's a surreal moment for anybody.
Balls.
Yeah, double balls.
But like you, that's cool that he decided, wait a minute here. I got to turn myself in and finish my time.
And you know what they used to say, right, Josh, when we were kids? They used to say that honesty was the best policy.
Yeah.
It's working out for this Corey guy. The cops said they likely won't dump any additional charges on Corey because they don't believe he had anything to do with cutting him loose early. Somebody goat-effed the paperwork over there at the prison. This is the second time this year that this prison in Australia has allowed a criminal to walk out of the joint because some nerd goofed up somebody's file. And 3 people were also put to death last year who were only visiting the prison as part of a Scared Straight program. They got to straighten things out over there. That last part, it was a total joke. Nobody got killed, but they have been letting people out before they're supposed to be.
Whoever's in charge of that, I'd imagine, should be reassigned.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You've lost your privileges. Is this a bit I'm missing? A bunch of people almost angrily are saying the band Triumph is from Canada.
Yeah, they get that a lot.
I don't think so.
It's a common mistake.
Am I missing a joke somewhere?
No, just people don't know what they're talking about.
No.
Triumph is an Australian band, but people don't know what they're talking about.
Brush up on your history.
Yeah. It's called Wikipedia. Use it.
Google. I mean, there's lots of engines you can use.
As they say in Canada, Australia, what are you talking about?
Florida isn't going to give up the title of stupidest location on earth without a solid fight. And in my opinion, truthfully, there is no place that could ever truly take that belt away from Florida. But Australia's doing their best. Florida's coming back into the mix here with a story of a guy who faked being abducted by a drug cartel so his wife would send him money.
That's pretty low.
Monies that he would spend on crack rocks and his most likely hideous side piece.
It's even lower.
So here's the deal. Eric Johnson is the name of this crooked, lying crack pig. His effing wife, she dumped over $70,000 in ransom monies to who she thought was a drug cartel that kidnapped her husband. But no, it was just him fooling her into thinking all that. Johnson's wife came to see the police a few weeks ago to report her husband missing and to say he was, quote, being held for ransom. She told cops she started receiving text messages from a phone number she did not recognize and said her husband would be hurt if she did not start sending monies. Let me give you a little background on this nightmare. These two have been married for about a year. Now, I don't know if this part of the story was part of the setup for this fake ransom gimmick, but this Johnson clown had told his wife back before they were married that he had previously been involved in a drug cartel and that he owed the cartel $60,000. Interesting story, right? So did he plan this all along and that story was to soften her up for the future scam? Don't know. Could have just been a random lie. But it would make sense to sprinkle a little bit of drug cartel talk into their common, average, everyday conversation if you were planning on doing a... You see where I'm going with all that?
Yes.
And by the way, ladies, don't ever let a story of an affiliation to a dangerous drug cartel keep you from marrying a guy. You just go right ahead and marry the guy, right?
Well, he's dangerous. He's got a bit of an edge.
Yeah, bad boy.
So, also, this Johnson guy had gone missing on a couple of other prior occasions for 2 or 3 months, and his wife paid money to her husband's Cash App account so he could be released and returned home. So she was used to this bit already. Some of the threatening text messages she received from the supposed drug cartel said things like, "You have 10 minutes to send $600 to your husband's Cash App for him messing up my business." Another text said, $500 now or buenas noches.
What a good addition to that.
Another said, "Send me $600 now or your husband's throat is peeled."
Oh.
Peeled. For this latest scam, the made-up kidnappers, really just her scumbag husband, they said they were driving him around in a car. They texted and threatened to kill him. Again, she begged for them not to kill her beloved husband. She sent money over 50 times until she had only $1.71 to her name. And that's when she decided to go to the cops for help. It didn't take cops long to figure out this was a big fat ass lie. They figured out that the cell phone sending the threats belonged to Crackhead Johnson.
Couldn't get a burner phone or anything like that? Didn't think that far.
Well, why wouldn't it be he could own 2 phones? You're thinking he used the same phone that he usually calls her with?
Yeah, that's what well, and if he must have bought another line
in his name.
In his name.
Right.
Rather than just going with cash, buying a burner phone and using that.
That's not traceable.
Yeah.
They also the cops checked out street cameras that showed the car he was supposed to be held captive in. They saw the car just traveling around town with him behind the wheel. And that's it. Just him.
Ghost cartel.
No one else in the car. Just there he is driving around town. They pulled him over. He admitted everything. The whole kidnapping was a ruse to get his wife to send him money, and then he used the money to buy crack rocks and bang some side ass.
I don't know. Maybe get a job. Maybe try that out.
There's an option.
He also told the cops he was never, ever part of any drug cartel. And he has defrauded his wife of over $120,000 since they met 4 years ago. It's all over for him. But I got $5 that says his wife doesn't leave him. Anybody want a piece of that?
No, I'm sure she stays.
If she was dim enough to fall for all that garbage he's been feeding her for the last 3-4 years, she's dim enough for a decent apology to bring her right back to him.
Yep.
I was never part of a drug cartel. You know the story as I was telling? Yeah, I know the story. I was never part of a drug cartel. Well, then why did you? I'm sorry, baby. You're really sorry? Yeah. I love you so much. $120,000 down the friggin' toilet because this guy's smoking crack rocks and calling up hookers. Just driving around town. He wasn't even that far away from home.
I guess that's the benefit of having a modest income. Nobody's going to take me for $120,000 over 4, much less 10 to 20 years.
Yeah.
She must have had a good job.
No kidding.
All right, here comes Florida again. Cubby, there was a naked, indecent scenario on a Florida beach. That's how the cops put it. A, quote, naked, indecent scenario. Let me tell you about this now. The naked, indecent scenario featured 5 completely nude and perfectly tan 21-year-old women who were also college basketball cheerleaders that were parading around the beach dancing and drinking with middle-aged men.
Whoa.
Of course, I'm kidding. It was one 60-year-old dude. You didn't fall for that, did you? It's always just one old dude.
Yeah. We wanted to believe.
Yeah.
So did I.
I was in the mindset of spring break, so I wanted to believe it so bad.
This, so when I saw the mugshot, my heart skipped a little bit. I don't know if do you guys know who Mike Holmes is?
Never saw him.
He's got a few, like, HGTV type shows. Seems like a good guy.
Dude.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm going to send you the mug. He is ripped. I thought it was Mike Holmes at first, and he seemed like such a normal, good dude that it made my heart skip. Take a look at this, Wapple. This is the dude that got all naked by himself.
So they look very similar.
Yeah.
Mike Holmes and...
That is unfortunate for Mike Holmes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so Nick, here's the mugshot.
Here's the guy who was on the beach being indecent. Dude. Sure.
And that's Mike Holmes.
You gotta, okay. Oh, they do look a little bit alike.
They look a lot alike.
They almost have the exact same wrinkles, like in the same place on their foreheads.
They hold their mouths the same way.
Insane.
I'm not a Mike Holmes guy. I'm more into Mike Lowry.
John Holmes.
I'm more of a Sherlock Holmes guy.
Oh, I should have deduced that.
Mike Lowry. Yeah, the indecent naked stories never feature 21-year-old cheerleader cupcakes. I just wanted to get a few guys in their 40s and 50s all riled up. I hope I did my job. It's always some old-timer white dude who can't keep his sad-ass broken old dog in his pants. Here's the deal. A 60-year-old disgusting old fella by the name of Leighton Nauman. He went to the beach last Saturday afternoon. A clothing-optional beach, don't you know? There had been prior complaints about lewd behavior occurring on this here beach, so a cop was on foot patrol, and he walked up on a naked guy, and it was this Nauman. He was ass naked, seated in a beach chair with a hat over his face. And what the cop saw next, I'm sure the cop will never forget. And I think it's necessary to read the exact police report to you because you're going to want to hear about the twisted setup the naked guy had going. It is something special. So bear with me. I'm reading directly from the police report, and I'll try to make it as clear as possible. Because, you know, in these official reports, you got to use big words and whatnot. That throws me, so I'll try to... This is the cop's official report. As I approached the subject, I saw him reclined back in the chair, completely nude with a hat over his face. I saw the subject's penis completely exposed. The penis and its neighboring scrotum.
I like how you put that. Yeah, the particular scrotum, the one right next to the penis, is the one I'm referring to.
Not the other one, the one that's right next to it.
The penis and the scrotum were stuffed into a metal ring commonly referred to as a C-ring. He even puts in his police report, C-rings are rings that go around the penis and scrotum for the purpose of slowing blood flow out of an erection and can aid in making erections harder and last longer. Okay?
He was just having fun with that police report.
I agree.
Wapple, there's nothing fun about this. Additionally, the cop says, each of the subject's respective testicles were also stuffed into their own metallic ring. Okay.
Okay.
This is tough to follow. I want to write this down.
I'm trying to make like a diagram.
So he's got a big old C-ring around his wiener plus testicles, and then each nad has another ring around it. That's what I believe is happening here.
That's a lot of pressure.
The main ring was tethered to a metal chain that extended out between the subject's legs to a stick that was shoved into the sand. So now there's a chain going from the man's penis and testicles, not on the ground, it's elevated, and it's tied to a stick, and the stick is stuck into the sand.
It's like a tent stake.
Yeah, I suppose, yes, like a tent stake. At the base of the stick was a cloth laid out that had a note written on it. The note said, "Hello." How do you like the start of the note so far?
Good so far, yeah.
Great. It'll capture your attention.
The note said, "Hello. Please feel free to investigate gently." And he drew the face of a cat on the note as well. So it was like more or less an invitation. The cop says, "I addressed the subject who identified himself as Leighton Nauman. I told him the behavior he was displaying is unacceptable. Yes, the beach allows nudity, but it is also frequented at times accidentally by parents with children, as well as other beachgoers. Nauman got up and got dressed. I placed him under arrest for exposure of sexual organs in a vulgar or indecent manner." Again, the cop establishes that this beach is clothing optional. However, Nauman was putting himself on display in the public walkway path and attached a device to his penis and scrotum sac with a chain and a note that read as an invitation to passersby to grab onto the chain and gently tug on the chain attached to his penis and scrotum sac as though he was baiting a sexual encounter.
Help a brother out.
Anyone be tempted to pull that chain? Just give it a shot.
Quick talk.
Just a gentle yank.
Oh, no. See, I would be tempted to pull the chain, but I would pull it real hard.
You attach it to the back of your pickup and just go.
You ever heard of anything so bizarre, elaborate, twisted?
It took some thought and planning.
Yeah, I like the planted flag. That's great.
Yes.
That's a twist that you wouldn't expect.
It's almost like he's hanging a fishing line off the side of a boat.
That's kind of what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
Just looking for a taker.
Only that's not a fish on the other end. It's a 60-year-old scrotum. The cop wraps up his report by saying Mr. Nauman acknowledged it was a bad decision. What he did was a bad decision. He was just hoping, he said, to meet someone for a sexual encounter, or maybe just go home with someone's phone number.
That's his pickup line, huh?
Please, Lord, let me go temporarily blind if this video ever crosses my path. But it says here, the cop's complete interaction with this old-timer was recorded on a body-worn camera. So Josh, you put the ring around the D, then you put the ring around each of your nuts.
Yep.
And then you put a ring around all three of those particular pieces of flesh.
Correct.
Then you attach a chain to the main ring. You string the chain out to a stick, you put the stick in the sand, you put a note on the stick that says, "Pull on this."
You see it every day.
I kind of want to try it.
I got some time this afternoon. I might give it a shot.
Did I miss a story, Josh? Are we cutting right to the teenage kid here? Did I miss a story?
Do you get the tree?
Trees are first?
Boy, if you want.
I forgot the order. Let's go with the teenage kid, since we were kind of talking about, I guess.
Oh, you're right. It is the teenage kid.
We were roughly talking sexual things. So we all remember what it was like when we were teenage kids. When you're a teenage kid and you're offered a piece of ass You go get it because you never know when that offer is going to be thrown your way again.
Yep.
Some still operate that way because of one reason or another, but most of us experienced that desperate need back when we were just getting started with sex action. You know, if you were offered, by God, you would run through hell. Here we go with a teenage kid in Nebraska. He got caught driving 117 miles per hour because his girlfriend offered him up some ass.
I'm not saying he should have done it, but I understand.
We've all been there.
117 and a 55. A couple days ago, around 9:30 p.m., Nebraska cops pulled over this kid. 117 and a 55. He told the cops he was rushing to meet his girlfriend during a work break. I'm guessing he had a half hour off.
Yep.
And he called the girlfriend, and she said, come over and hit this. And he was in the car before she finished her sentence. The kid got pinched for speeding, not having valid registration, this and that. He's looking at a $325 fine, Ski.
I think maybe they should add horny to a subset of temporary insanity. You know, sometimes they'll give you a lighter sentence.
Honestly.
Because you're a different person at times.
100%.
Especially if it's been a while. You're ashamed sometimes afterwards of the person you became. That's not me. Why was I like that?
I'm going to tell you something that everybody already knows. You're brilliant.
That's not true. But I'm just saying, I mean, you know what it's like.
Horniness should be filed somewhere under the umbrella of temporary insanity.
Yeah. I mean, this guy on the beach, sure a little extreme, but if he wasn't aroused, he wouldn't be doing that. He was horny. A level of horny I'll never achieve.
The guy on the beach and this 17-year-old kid, they were temporarily insane.
But yeah, this one, I mean, like you said, you're thinking, okay, I got a half an hour to get it. You're doing the math in your head. I got to double the speed limit.
Yep.
Get there, I need 2 minutes for sex, and then I'm back out of there.
I mean, right. Everything that you said is accurate. Because there's how many guys listening right now, girls too, where right after you finished, and you know what I'm talking about when I say finished, you said to yourself, oh my God, what have I done?
A friend of mine was just telling me the other day, he likes to describe some of the porn he watches, and some of it I can't handle it. Gaping comes to mind. So he talks about some of this stuff, and then but what he does is he closes the browser before completion because he doesn't want to look back and see what he was looking at. Because of the post-nut clarity, he's disgusted with himself.
The shame.
And so the shame is far less if there's just nothing on the screen.
Understandable.
Post-nut clarity is the only cure for that temporary insanity.
That's it.
And like I said, you look seconds after the act is finished and you say, what have I done?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how that... Is it the same for women?
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
like, after an orgasm, you're like, okay, that was odd.
Yep,
Why-
100%.
But here we go with this kid again. Yeah, his girlfriend gave him the green light to bump. He had a time limit, and he was damn determined to get her done.
I'm thinking of the times where you're just like, when you're done with the act and you kind of just sit there and you're like, we're disgusting. What just happened was disgusting. What's wrong with us?
You weren't even human then.
Like, you turn into a different person.
And how about this? Who else can relate to this? Where you say, oh my God, what have we done? And then the next word out of your mouth, delete that.
Yeah.
Like, do it now. Well, can we watch it? No, delete it now.
No, do not watch it.
You don't even want. No, just delete it now. So I'm 100% sure that it's gone.
You might even have made some promises in the middle of that. You agreed to stuff you normally wouldn't agree to, and then instantly regret it.
I wonder how many unplanned, I guess maybe it's sort of planned at that situation, pregnancy has happened from that kind of situation. When you're in the heat of the moment and you're like, no, it's fine right now, who cares? And then as soon as you get that post-nut clarity, you're like, oh, we shouldn't have done that, we should not have done that.
You're talking about finishing moves?
Yep.
Ah, yes. Someone says of this young man who was going twice the speed limit in order to get some sex, it's a case of the ass and the furious.
This all brings to mind, I mean, it's not as dramatic as driving 117 miles per hour to try to have sex within a 30-minute break from work. But, just you make those stupid decisions. You take risks that you normally wouldn't. And this goes back to when I was around 17 years old. I was offered up some action, and I had to have it. And this gal, who didn't live far from me, her parents were home at the time. So that's where I think it fits in with what we're talking about. Normally, when she'd say, well, my parents are home, I'd say, that's kind of iffy, right? But I had that temporary insanity, and I had to have it. So it was middle of the night, snuck out of my folks' place, went over to her place. Like I said, it was right down the road. And we had sex up and down. I snuck into her house, which was quite easy to do. Big house. She lived way down on the bottom floor. Her folks were, it's a big, big house. So that part didn't make me nervous. I was very confident that I could get into the place. She was there to open the door. And we just went at it like rabbits. And we kept telling each other, okay, one more time and then I'll leave, right?
Yep.
But next thing you know, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I made the stupid decision, well, I'll just sleep for an hour.
Oh.
And then I'll go. Well, I woke up, we ended up sleeping for like 4 hours. And I woke up, and her mother is vacuuming the basement that this girl, where her bedroom was. And now it's broad daylight.
That's
broad daylight.
Scary.
And I gotta somehow get out of this room like now. And is your mother gonna come in the room? And she's like, I don't know. Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't. Right outside the door, mom with the vacuum. It was like torture. It was like mental. What do I do? Can I go out the window? No, the windows don't open that way. So I just said, I'm gonna go for it. And I stood at that gal's bedroom door and waited for that vacuum to sound like it was far away. And in broad daylight, I was tiptoeing like in a movie. Mom's right around the corner with that vacuum. And I'm like tiptoe. The cord hit me in the leg a couple. That's how close she was to. And I got to the sliding glass door and I ripped it open and just ran like hell. And it's broad. The neighbors must have thought, what the hell's going on there? You see this skinny little 17-year-old kid sprinting as fast as he can.
Did she ever find out that you know of? Did the girl you were with say, hey, my mom mentioned something after you left?
I don't think so, no.
Well, that's good. That'd be scary.
I don't know.
Better than the mom than the dad, though.
Oh, without a doubt.
No way.
I could see mom out of my peripheral vision, but I hit the jets, just out of there. But that was temporary insanity. All right, we're out of time. We'll have to talk about trees and bees and everything. Knees. We got stories tomorrow about trees, bees, and knees.
And Lee's.
Lee's?
Yeah.
What is Lee's?
Like a lot of Lee's pants.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Wapo, I didn't need you on that one. I did. I did.
Yeah, it was kind of good the way it was.
It was kind of perfectly senseless and bizarre. And then you took it in a direction that wasn't necessary, and I don't appreciate it.
Dun, 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 dun. Wapple.
You wobbled it.
Yeah, I did.
Is it temporary insanity that you're suffering from? We got to take a break. We'll be back. We'll check the sports.
Hello, fellow Helldivers. It's Wapple with your video game update. If you haven't been spreading democracy and freedom in the new Helldivers 2, you might want to think about trying it out. Super Earth is being threatened, and the only way to keep it safe from the bugs and bots is diving straight into hell. Jump into their planets so they don't invade ours. Super Earth is beautiful, isn't she? Developers of the game have said that watching the US sales go up again for the third week is incredible, and they feel like Steve Irwin sighting a rare bird. Rare and amazing, in an Australian accent. Of course, with the new game comes new problems. Arrowhead Games Studio CEO Jonah Pilestead is asking fans to help with the problem with the game's matchmaking system. In Helldivers 2, one member acts as a party leader, hosting all the other players, but it's giving them too much power. Game hosts are kicking other players for all sorts of petty reasons. Low kill count? Yeah! out of here! What? Not using the right gun? See ya. Heilstedt wants your help and is taking everyone's advice. So much that he's constantly checking Reddit, and he's even playing Helldivers 2 in-game with other players, asking them questions. Everyone but Xbox fans. Maybe you could squish bugs and smash bots with a CEO spreading democracy.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
I believe Adam Silver has a crisis right now. Rudy Gobert is not an insignificant player. He's not insignificant. Here are his quotes afterwards. I'll bite the bullet again. I'll be the bad guy. I'll take the fine, but I think it's hurting our game. I know the betting and all that is becoming bigger and bigger, but it shouldn't feel this way. Referees make mistakes too, but sometimes I think it's more than mistakes. He's saying the guy's taking money, Mike. There's an integrity of the game, and you can say he's joking. You can say he doesn't believe it, but he's not saying it. And Adam Silver has this in the closet with Tim Donaghy. So you got to make sure the public doesn't think that this is real. I'm sorry. I think this is a big deal. In hindsight, I'm not sure the fine was enough.
Calm the hell down, will you?
He's amped.
He was. They're all worried about, Rudy Gobert with the money sign and the integrity of the game, the NBA, the integrity of the game. He's accusing referees of being on the take. F the integrity of the game. Have you seen what isn't traveling anymore?
It's tough to define nowadays.
Yeah, it really is. It's a very loose definition.
Sometimes they almost need a passport. There's so much traveling.
Have you seen what is and is not traveling in the NBA? The integrity is gone. Gals Pro Hockey Club has a home game tonight against Boston. The Russian kids scored a couple goals last night. The Pigs beat the Arizona Coyotes. We're going to talk to Marcus Foligno at 8 a.m. We got a wild update at 8 a.m. with Marcus Foligno. The Wolves, speaking of the NBA, they pulled off a nice road win. Looking forward to talking about this with Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder in about a half hour. Nobody wants to play football here. That Daniil Hunter guy took off. He's going to go play for the Houston Texans. And the Big Ten basketball tournament, the dude side of things, gets started tonight. Big Ten basketball, Gophers play tomorrow. All kinds of things going on. Like I said, Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder, Marcus Foligno coming up in about a half hour. Josh's News is next.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act. They're a nuisance.
93X.
Grace here, customer service rep at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Our customers are our top priority, whether that's providing same-day service or solving a cooling issue for that addition on your home. Ashley, tell our listeners about this month's AC specials.
Get started on your spring cleaning checklist now. With the weather warming up, it's the perfect time to get your AC tuned up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get $40 off a furnace or AC tune-up, or double your savings and get $80 off when you get them done at the same time. Visit standardheating.com to save now.
Business has always been about turning a profit, making money. But can it stand for something more? Something beyond dollars and cents? We think so. We think that today, business has a higher calling, a purpose to be fair and just, to do right by their workers, customers, communities, and the environment. And it turns out companies successful doing that also do better for their bottom line. When you see the Just Capital seal, it means this company is a force for good. Visit justcapital.com to learn more.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Gregory Knaus, 12584.
All right, thank you, Mr. Knaus.
Gregory Knaus, a Phoenix firefighter, was arrested on accusations he caused more than $25,000 in damage to a townhome after the resident there threatened to tell the firefighter's wife he was having an affair.
That's not good.
It's hot is what it is.
It is hot. Police said Knaus planned to sabotage the plumbing and HVAC system of the townhome in a retaliation plot. Detectives said a witness noticed the man on the roof of the townhome in Peoria, Arizona, January 23rd. He allegedly clogged the townhome's plumbing and roof using spray foam and then vandalized the air conditioning vent. He also is accused of putting holes in the roof. Detectives said he was involved in a dispute with the townhome's resident over a romantic relationship he allegedly had with the resident's girlfriend. That resident allegedly said he was going to tell Knaus's wife about the affair. In response, he allegedly texted the resident saying, "I know where you live," and threatened to destroy his life. Knaus was arrested and charged with multiple crimes, including second-degree burglary, criminal damage, harassment, and threatening and intimidating.
Hey, no one ever said cheating on your wife was a glamorous business.
There are some downsides.
It can get a little nasty.
Sick of hearing him swear in public, a 53-year-old at a Minneapolis recreation center attempted to teach a teenager the importance of manners and respect for others by stabbing him. Police responded to a report of a stabbing shortly after 5 p.m. March 7th, where the victim told police he'd been sitting on a couch inside the rec center when he got into an argument with the man about the use of profanity. The victim and another witness were saying some bad words, and the suspect didn't like that one bit, so he confronted the young men with a knife. During the argument, while the victim was still seated, the man allegedly brandished the knife and stabbed the teen in the foot.
Oh!
He stabbed him in the foot. If convicted for his ill-advised lesson in social etiquette, he could face up to a year in prison.
Nothing that a little stabbing can't fix.
I thought I was going to... Remember that time at the sandwich shop, Josh? I thought that old-timer was going to stab me because of my T-shirt had a swear word on it.
Yeah, he wanted to grab that little orange-handled knife they have at Subway and serrate your aorta or something.
I was wearing a Rat concert shirt. Rat, R-A-T-T. You older folks know who I'm talking about. And on the back of the T-shirt, and I wasn't aware, I didn't remember that this T-shirt featured foul language, but on the back of the shirt it said Rat and effing roll. And this old fart in line saw my T-shirt, and I thought he was going to choke me to death. Oh, he was upset.
A Michigan man with stolen jewelry has been charged in an unusual case. He tried breaking in to a former prison. The prison building he allegedly broke into is the former Standish Correctional Facility, which closed in 2009.
Most of the time when we get called is for somebody trying to break out of prison, not break into prison.
Police responded to an alarm at the former prison facility about 11:30 p.m. Sunday. They found a glass door at the administration building smashed and 42-year-old Cody Bellamy walking out. Investigators found several items in his vehicle, including stolen jewelry, as well as some cash and burglary tools and an unregistered firearm.
His initial statements were that he wanted to just walk around and take a look, but, in reality, when you're in possession of burglary tools and masks, we know that's not the case.
The Michigan Department of Corrections said anything of value had been removed from that building years ago, so it was fruitless, his efforts. It's the first time someone has broken into a building there in the past 15 years.
This guy thought he'd find something good in an abandoned prison.
Yeah, it's been cleared out for a while.
You never know. I got to be thorough.
Yeah, maybe some confiscated contraband.
Confiscated contraband.
Well, they would have took that out. I mean, 2009.
Maybe find a shank hidden in the wall somewhere.
A student pilot on an Alaska Airlines flight from San Diego to Washington, D.C. is facing charges after allegedly trying to rush the aircraft's flight deck multiple times during the 5-hour flight. But Nathan Jones had what he thought was a good excuse. You see, the simpleton told flight attendants he was just testing them. On March 3rd, Jones took his assigned seat, but then made 3 separate attempts to go to the front of the plane and open the aircraft's cockpit door. Flight attendants requested the assistance of off-duty law enforcement officers who restrained Jones in flex cuffs and sat on either side of him for the remainder of the flight. When flight attendants asked Jones why he had tried to get into the cockpit, Jones replied he was testing them. After the plane landed at Washington Dulles International, agents found multiple notebooks with writings describing how to operate an aircraft and a wallet with Jones's student pilot's license. It's not the first incident to strike fear into the hearts of Alaska Airlines passengers in recent months. You may remember an October incident in which an off-duty Alaska Airlines pilot riding in the cockpit jump seat of a flight from Everett, Washington to San Francisco tried to shut down the aircraft's engines mid-flight, forcing the plane to make an emergency landing in Oregon. The aviator, identified as 44-year-old Mark Emerson, said he was tripping on psychedelic mushrooms when he attempted to cut power to the engines.
You never know when someone might pop a surprise test on you, huh, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, he's just trying to help him out, and apparently nobody appreciated.
I like that story you told a while back where some, 45-year-old derelict was caught trying to sell pot to a 12-year-old at a park or something, right? And the cop said, "What are you doing?" "I was just showing the kid what not to do." And he failed. He did. The kid bought pot from me, and I was just trying to show God, that's brilliant stuff.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America. A 14-year-old subway surfer was injured on a Brooklyn subway train in the latest injury from the dangerous social media craze.
Subway surfing is not only illegal, it is super reckless, extremely dangerous, and people die doing so.
Are these the guys that were giving each other hand jobs?
No, different. Nah, those
are different heroes.
Young folks jumping on the top of subway trains.
Because we had a story a couple weeks ago where some dude was up there, he was dishing out hand jobs up on top of the subway.
Yeah, a couple guys going at it. It looked like a reach around in one of the pictures I saw. Unfortunately, yeah, one of the kids had his head taken off doing this.
Oh, no!
There has been some deaths.
Some dude's head came off?
Yeah, popped right off.
God dang.
Low-hanging sign.
Oh.
That's not where you want your head to be. Off.
Dude. The unidentified young daredevil fell from an elevated position on an F train around 1:30 p.m. Saturday. Officers responded to a 911 call from apparently a person who said the responsive 14-year-old boy was inside the train at the time, suffering from a head laceration and chest and neck pain.
Oh, that's nasty.
The investigation is ongoing. How dumb.
Yeah.
Police in St. Petersburg, Florida responded to a Culver's restaurant where officials say 37-year-old Sean Drake intentionally rear-ended a vehicle multiple times while in the drive-thru. Drake became frustrated with the car in front of him and began yelling at a woman and her boyfriend, leading him to repeatedly pound them in the rear, so to speak. When the boyfriend got out, Drake accelerated and struck him with the front of his vehicle, causing the boyfriend to land on the hood as he was driven across the parking lot before falling off. As Drake raced away valiantly, I may add, he struck a pedestrian, leaving them with minor injuries. When officers arrived at Drake's home and went to arrest him, he tensed up, yelled, "No!" and then tried to run, but a well-aimed taser put a quick stop to his escape. Also in Florida, a man was arrested after he threw a Chick-fil-A drink at a woman during a road rage incident, and a different man was arrested for threatening a McDonald's worker with a crowbar.
Jeez.
A Texas man posing as a car salesman and a paralegal was arrested after scamming 3 people out of thousands upon thousands of dollars. 41-year-old Jesus Lopez impersonated a salesperson at a small car dealership, requesting $1,500 from a customer for a Chevy. However, he didn't work there. Then a person seeking a divorce lawyer met with Lopez at a Burger King. He told the person he worked at a local law firm and requested $500 to, quote, initiate divorce proceedings. Days later, that person met with Lopez again at the same Burger King, where he went big and requested a whopper of a sum, an extra $2,500 to continue with the divorce. A couple weeks after that, Lopez requested another $2,500 for legal services before later requesting another $800 from the same victim. In total, the divorce-seeking victim gave Lopez $6,300 for false services, police say. He also met with a third victim who was trying to bail her son out of jail. He again said he worked at a local law firm and requested $6,700. He met with the victim once again and said her son couldn't be released from jail due to citations, so he needed about $1,700 more. Additionally, he met with the victim at a later date and said he had acquired a job for her son, but charged her about $180 to buy him uniforms.
Dang.
The third victim gave Lopez $13,000 in total, according to police, who say between the 3 victims, he stole about $21,000.
Good.
Insane.
Pretty convincing, this guy.
Yeah.
Pretty good work right there. Pretty good day's work.
A 45-year-old Ohio man was jailed in Nashville Saturday after reportedly following women around a Nashville bar, making them feel uncomfortable, which is a bad look for anybody, but especially if you're a school president of a Catholic high school. Security at the 1230 Club said the man came into the bar and began to follow women around, making them uncomfortable and annoyed with the behavior. The Catholic school leader out of Ohio was escorted out of the location only to return and continue the behavior. According to security, he was even escorted out of the building 6 times, but continued to return, changing his clothing to change his appearance. I got a different hat on this time.
This disguise will work.
Yeah, I didn't have a mustache last time. He was eventually detained until Metro Nashville police arrived and took him into custody. Police say they noted his extreme level of intoxication.
Somebody's got to get this guy laid.
Man, no kidding.
It's getting pretty bad.
A 30-year-old man named Justin Kindred was found impaired March 10th in Nashville. While not that unusual for a person to be drunk in Tennessee's popular party place, when officers contacted Kindred, though, it appeared he barfed on the side of his truck and pooped himself. Once officers told him to get out of his vehicle, he admitted to drinking 2 shots of tequila before cacking and crapping. After admitting responsibility for the Technicolor yawn and the turds, Kindred was taken into custody for DUI and possessing a weapon under the influence.
You guys ever thrown up on the side of a car?
I have not. Inside a car, unfortunately. I feel terrible about that.
Oh, were you intoxicated or were you just like car sick or something?
Very intoxicated.
My sister,
car wasn't even moving.
My sister threw up red wine on the side of my car in the wintertime.
Your sister threw up what?
Red wine on the side of my white car in the wintertime. So it just froze to the car.
Gross, you're out there with a chisel.
Frozen sister barf right on the side of your car.
It's like blood.
I don't think I ever cacked on the side of a vehicle.
I've done it by accident.
Or in one. Well, it wasn't like Josh was doing it on purpose.
No, that was my 21st birthday. It's not my fault, it's Bennigan's. 3 for 1s.
I managed to get the rare on the inside and outside. The window was down, but it kind of went half and half. Yeah.
Well, you made an effort.
That stuff is so gross.
Minnesota could become the first state in 9 years to open cannabis dispensaries run by cities and counties.
I think it's a viable option for the community to be able to have hands-on hard stake in how it operates in their community.
One line in the state's new cannabis law allows for cities and counties to establish, own, and operate a municipal cannabis store, which appears to be the first of its kind in the country, and has prompted cities to research whether they want to open their own dispensaries. Municipal cannabis stores are of particular interest to local governments in Minnesota that don't already operate their own liquor stores. In cities like Edina and Isani, liquor stores serve as a revenue stream which helps reduce taxes for residents and businesses. Because of conflicts with federal law, other states have shied away from adopting state-owned liquor store models for cannabis retailers. The sales tax on cannabis product sales in Minnesota is 10% in addition to state and local taxes. Local governments are barred from imposing their own tax on cannabis. I was wondering how long it would be before something like that happened. Your city-owned ones.
I wasn't.
You weren't wondering?
No.
No, it made me curious. Selection Sunday is this weekend. Register for $1 Million brackets at 93x.com. Pick a perfect bracket for this month's men's tournament, and you can win $1 million. Sponsored locally by Xfinity 10G, the network made for streaming. Former Twins pitcher Johan Santana, 45. Golden Gopher legend, current assistant coach for the Philadelphia 76ers, Bobby Jackson, 51.
Oh, no. God dang, it's just, I get overwhelmed sometimes when you bring up those old ball players. I think of the great times that they showed us back in the day, Cubby.
You can't help but. Also 51 today, Disturbed singer David Draymond. And celebrating his 74th birthday, Frank Gallagher on Showtime's Shameless. Actor William H. Macy, 74. Yeah, very funny. I watched Ricky Stenicki.
Did you like it?
It was okay. It had its moments.
It did,
I really loved it.
Oh, you loved it?
Yes.
It had its moments. Maybe I need to rewatch it. But
what in the living hell is Ricky Stenicki?
It's one of your favorites, John Cena. It's, is it Prime? I forget exactly where I watched
Amazon
it.
Prime.
He's the best.
So William H. Macy was in it, and he was awesome.
He was great in it. The
D-hands.
The D-hands.
Yeah, the way he talks, his mannerisms when he talks was a pretty good bit. Sympathies to Tonka TIG Welding Jesus and family. They lost their 7-year-old lab, Rainey, yesterday. Very sorry to hear that news. Happy 10th birthday to Presley from Dad, Texas Carpenter. And happy birthday to Grill Master Bloody Mary Maker Jesus. That's 93X News.
Care 11's Randy Shaver.
If you see him, do not approach him. He is considered extremely dangerous. His depravity knows no bounds. I mean, this is someone who has nothing to lose, so I don't know what he's capable of doing.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Right before we came on, I was reading a story about Aaron Rodgers potentially becoming vice president. And, the good news, elections on a Tuesday, that's normally players' day off. Right. So he'd be available to watch, the results roll in. This is one of those George Costanza driving to the Poconos moments where it's like, I'm really going to go be vice president. anything can happen, Andrew.
I mean,
back to you, Frenzy. Let's go.
As long as he's not Surgeon General.
Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'll tell you what. Good morning to both of you guys. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Got you both on the cell phone, Randy. I think we got some guy coming over to your house today to try to finger bang that microphone back into place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I hear. So
and
we'll
Brad,
see.
we heard from that same guy that he has no plans to head to your place.
That's fine. I really don't want him finger banging my phone or anything else. So.
He's a professional finger banger when it comes to radio equipment and stuff, isn't he, Josh?
Yeah, he's the best in the business. No joke.
Best fingers in the business.
You'll love him. If you're around, you'll love him, Randy. Funny dude.
Speaking of funny, now I don't follow politics at all, mainly because most politicians are garbage and because too many lunatics have made politics their identity. Their identity. In my opinion, it's one thing to have certain political beliefs, but when it becomes the driving force behind everything that you say or do, that makes you the least desirable person I could possibly imagine. So I try not to get involved, but you can't help it when something like this comes up because this is hilarious. I didn't know there was still a Kennedy involved in politics. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.?
Yeah.
You guys know who that guy is?
Yeah, he's been pretty active on social media lately.
I'm not on social media. He possibly wants to sign up a former NFL quarterback, the gas bag, Karen Rodgers. He wants to sign up former NFL quarterback Karen Rodgers to be his running mate for president.
Let's not do that.
So he'd be the vice president.
Huh?
Or
Jesse the Body Stinkin' Ventura.
Oh.
So this is too much fun to turn down. Well, I love Jesse. We miss Jesse. I wish he was still around town. But I don't think he's around here anymore. Didn't he move? I don't know. Maybe I just don't hang out at the same places as Jesse.
I think one of those two people has slightly more appeal to the voting base than the other, but
I don't know the voting base.
No.
So there you go. That's a lot of fun right there.
I wonder if either one of those guys would accept it, especially Rodgers. I could see him wanting to go into politics.
Oh, God loves
He's
attention.
so arrogant, yeah.
But I'd
He would love
imagine he
that.
wants to play football right now. I don't know how cool would that be to have a football-playing vice president?
He's done playing football.
You think so?
Yeah, it's not going to happen for him. But that is cute. I get a kick out of that. Just because, to hear Jesse's name thrown into the mix is always fun for me.
This is definitely something I wasn't expecting to read yesterday. It was a highlight of my day, I think.
So Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the gas bag, and Jesse Ventura. Okay, those names were thrown around. Here's a comment from someone who does follow politics. This person said the Three Stooges reunion that no one was asking for. I don't even know what that means politically, but the Three Stooges, that's funny. Oh, you know who else I read might be interested in getting into politics when they're done playing professional sports? Steph Curry.
He's been talking
of him?
Yeah,
Heard of him?
I thought he was probably going to go after golf.
That's what
a
I
little
thought
bit.
too.
Yeah.
Play professional golf?
Mm-hmm. He's actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
Randy, I think you should get into politics.
You'd be a great politician.
No, thanks.
I don't know any of your political beliefs, but you seem very stately.
Yeah, you would appeal to, both parties, I would think, a little bit.
That would be miserable.
No, I don't want to.
No, thank you. No, thanks.
Don't make me dislike Randy more than I already do. Steph Curry. What about The Rock?
There's
talking about that.
Talks about The Rock running for president, just like Steph Curry.
He made it a storyline in his TV show where he was running for president. The biographical show about his life, and he was running for president on that show.
Never saw it. What was that show called again? I know
Young
you liked
Rock.
it, right? Huh?
Young Rock?
Young Rock.
Yeah, the last season wasn't nearly as good, but
Kind of fell off a little bit.
Oh, no. All right, Randy Shaver. I know yesterday we kind of made a little bit of a vow to put a lid on the Kirk Cousins stuff unless, it can be like a subplot, right? Did we have that conversation or not, Randy?
We did.
Yes.
No, we
Okay.
did.
All right.
Yes.
I know Brad wasn't.
So it sounds like you are going to break that promise.
Well, no, like I said, unless it's a subplot kind of a thing. I'm not.
Okay.
You know me. What am I going to do? Sit here and talk about how I think the Atlanta offense might operate under Kirk? Am I going to talk about his money? No, we covered that. I wouldn't bring that stuff up in the first place. It's a subplot. I got a couple of text messages I really liked this morning. Well, here's one. A listener texted in and said, I heard a song on the radio this morning. And the song was I'm Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler. Does everyone remember that?
Yeah.
That big hit. I need a hero.
Right.
With the big, what do you call those big fat drums that the band guys had, Josh? Boom.
Timpanis.
Yeah, that's the one.
I'm holding out for a hero in the dead of the night. So this listener says they heard that song on the radio, and 2 words instantly came to mind. Sam Darnold.
Egg engineering, Jesus.
When
it
comes to the Vikings, it should be plural, though.
Yeah.
What should be plural?
Heroes. You need a couple of them?
Heroes.
Egg Engineering Jesus has a theory as to why Randy would be adverse to going into politics, and this makes a lot of sense. He'd have to go back to the state fair, kiss babies, meet people. That's going to rule him out.
It's the only reason.
Son of a bitch. There you go. That's all I wanted to do. You can trust me on this, Randy.
We don't need to talk about it for my sake either, because I was clearly the person on the show who was most in his camp. So I'll put it to bed.
Appreciate that, Brad Ryder. But the Vikes do keep losing, fellas. Daniil Hunter signed with the Houston Texans.
It's too bad.
But they knew that was going to happen. That's why they went out and signed the Grenard kid from the Texans. So they basically swapped defensive ends.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm not saying that anyone was taken by surprise. I'm just throwing it out there. That's what happened.
It feels like all this is like the transfer portal. Just everyone's going everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 days.
I would say it's been the craziest I've seen it the last 2 days. Certainly the first day, and I said this yesterday with the amount of running backs that changed teams in one day was pretty bizarre. I don't ever recall a day in which there were so many different running backs going to different teams in one day. So it was pretty wild.
You've also got to hand it to the NFL a little bit. They figured out how to stay in the news 12 months out of the year. I mean, they set free agency for the middle of March, and then we had the combine last month, and then we got the draft next month.
I'm sick of it.
I know.
Yep. Sick of it. More year I get. Every year is how a person would say that. Every year I get more sickened by the constant barrage of National Football League dorks.
Yep. It's baseball season.
Randy
it's not time for
Shaver,
football.
It's almost baseball. Randy, don't let your degenerate gambling and fantasy football issues go this far. I've got a story for you, Randy Shaver. Don't you dare let it go this far. You'll regret it. An ex-employee of the Jacksonville Jaguars might be looking at 6.5 years in jail for stealing $22 million from that football team. Which they say here was largely used for gambling and daily fantasy purposes.
Wow.
$22 million.
That's a little bit of a problem, right?
Yeah, jeez.
You might want to sit down and talk to somebody.
This might be the best thing that ever happened to him, just going away for a while.
Right.
His name, the name is Patel, his last name. I don't have the first name here.
Amit or Amit?
Amit Patel. Now, here's a comment from the Jacksonville Jaguars senior vice president. The senior vice president read a statement on behalf of the team. We gave him his dream job, they said about Amit Patel. We trusted him. We worked with him. We broke bread with him. Let's not be over dramatic about this.
We turned water into wine with him.
They had to get over dramatic because it's the NFL. We broke shut up. We went through a pandemic and the highs and lows of the NFL with him, and he betrayed us. Ahmet broke our hearts, the team said. But it's a kind of a funny story. I mean, aside from 22.5 some odd million getting swiped out from under a ball club.
Right.
Because they say here, okay, so this guy was a junkie for the things that you're into, Randy Shaver. What did I say? Fantasy football and just degenerate gambling. Daily fantasy, gambling on ball games. Right.
Yeah.
The overwhelming opinion of this guy from folks like Randy who are on their computers all day dialing up, making bets. They say this guy was a high-volume, high-stakes daily fantasy sports player known for racking up big losses.
Did you want to know very good at it.
You think?
Right. So one daily fantasy player said that this Patel guy was, quote, the biggest loser ever on FanDuel. He was legendarily bad.
Wow.
So I'm reading the first paragraph of the story on ESPN right now that says that he used a company credit card. How do you rack that up on a company credit card without somebody noticing it?
Exactly. What kind of checks and balances are not in place for a guy like
Who's
that
running their accounting department, for crying out loud?
It looks like the guy was the head of the virtual credit card program for the Jaguars.
So he was running it.
So he was running it.
Oh, okay. So he was the guy that would have seen something like that.
All right.
That is awesome.
That explains it.
Awesome. I'm jealous. Jameis Winston agreed to a one-year deal with the Browns. I was kind of hoping he'd come here. Josh, your guy, Jimmy Garoppolo, got cut by the Raiders.
Oh,
so you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
I mean, we don't want anybody else here. We've got Sam. We're waiting for Zach. That's the perfect scenario.
Oh, by the
so
way,
we don't want a veteran. We want Zach.
Zach, who's Zach?
The Milfman.
Zach Wilson.
Oh, right. Sorry, Milfman. Sorry.
Come on, we've been campaigning for this.
No, Randy Shaver. I just don't often refer to him as. I don't often hear him referred to as Zach.
You got to be
We're
close.
just using his proper name. That's all.
Sorry, I blew up. Here's a text
that would
from
be a campaign Randy's behind.
Yes.
Milfman,
There you
Minnesota.
go.
I'm Randy Shaver.
Super Serial Jesus.
The ass man welcomes the MILF man.
The ass man approves this message.
Great headline.
with open cheeks. Back to the guy stealing money from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Super Serial Jesus texted in to say, didn't Cousins steal over $200 million from them?
No.
That's what he did.
Oh my God.
A lot of folks are joking around about some punter who signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. His name is Cameron Johnston. Everyone's joking around because they say he looks exactly like a comic named Bill Burr.
Oh, man.
He does.
It is.
He does.
Like, if somebody said that was Bill Burr a few years ago, I would think it was.
Yep. That's up on 93x.com.
They do look quite a bit alike, Cubby.
Yeah, they do.
Right when you think the Wolves might be headed for some real trouble, they pull off a nice road win. They beat the Los Angeles Clippers by 18 points last night. Anthony Edwards scored 37. No.
It might have been their best win of the year. They were down by more than 20 in that game last night without Carl. And then Gobert goes down with a chest injury that we don't know what his status is in the fourth quarter. And Anthony Edwards and Mike Conley just lit him up last night. And between the two of them, it certainly helped that Kawhi Leonard left the game because he's a really good player for the Clippers, obviously. But that's a big win for them last night. They stay within a half a game of first place. But we'll see what kind of cost it comes with because Gobert, it was a weird deal. He went up to try to block a shot, came down on a guy, grabbed his chest, stayed in the game, then just walked to the sideline. Like he couldn't breathe.
He was kind of grabbing his ribs a little bit. It almost looked like, I mean, I'm not trying to speculate. It almost looked like, though, he might have done something to one of his ribs.
That's what I heard. It was ribs or chest or something.
Yeah, and we didn't hear anything before the end of the game last night, just that he wasn't returning, but, no specific information on it. So
you're right, it was an impressive win. It was especially impressive because if you watched the first quarter last night, the first quarter was it was a big fat bag of ass. They were so bad in the first quarter. They were down by 22 points midway through the second, but then the fellas turned things around.
I think as hot as Connolly was in the fourth quarter, I don't think it would have mattered. They still probably would have won, but it did help that Leonard went down because that game turned on a dime as soon as he went out.
He just went home. Kawhi Leonard just went home. Do you guys know what I mean when I say gnaw?
I don't think so.
Nikhil Alexander-Walker. That's what they call him.
Yeah, he had a great game off the bench.
28 points. They're at Utah Saturday and then again at Utah on Monday.
Yeah, they sit in L.A. for all this time now. They're not coming home. They're going to stay in L.A., and then they'll head over to Utah, and they play twice in Utah before they come home.
I'm going to go see the Kardashians, I bet. Karl Anthony Towns had successful knee surgery. The Big Ten basketball tournament starts today. They're in Minneapolis. What do you call that joint again? The Target Center?
Yep.
A couple of games today, and then most folks think Purdue's going to walk away with it.
Yep.
Purdue, Illinois, Nebraska, I think those are the top 3, 4. Northwestern is up there. They have a lot of good teams. Most folks think Purdue's going to walk away with it. We'll talk about the Golden Gophers. They play tomorrow.
It's too bad that game's at 11 a.m. on a Thursday.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, that does kind of suck. Does suck a little bit.
Kind of takes away their home court advantage that they might have had.
I'm not the greatest speller in town. I'm not. But I'm not this bad. The University of San Francisco. The Dons. What a great nickname.
Yep.
That's their team nickname, the Dons. Of course, they're most famous for winning a couple of championships with them in the 50s. Go!
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell.
Nate Thurman.
On ESPN.com, someone posting something about the University of San Francisco dudes basketball team. Someone misspelled San Francisco terribly to where it reads San Francisco.
How can it be this bad?
I think someone fell asleep on the keyboard.
Yeah.
San Francisco. SANFRAMCOSCP.
I mean, how?
I think Josh is right. Someone had an orgasm on their keyboard when they were trying to spell. Again, I'm no spelling bee champion, but that's pretty bad. Bad. B-A-D.
Good. Nice one. That was awesome.
But this is funny now. Look for...
What was that?
Oh.
Is that a robot?
There's a robot fart.
Sounded like.
This sounds like fun now. Because maybe you'll start seeing these T-shirts at college basketball games. I read that an apparel brand has vowed to obtain a license to sell T-shirts that say San Francisco.
That's fun.
I left my heart in San Francisco. The Dons, I don't know if they'll make the tournament. I saw they were having a very good year. But they lost their tournament game the other night to Gonzaga. Again with the Gonzaga. So I don't know if they'll make the tournament. When's the last time any of us put on a pair of skis?
Well,
Never.
I can't even remember.
Quarter after never.
6th grade?
Yeah.
Brad Ryder, have you never put on a pair of
never have.
downhill skis?
Never.
Me either. I don't trust them. They're
Randy
sketchy.
Shaver, never. Ashley, never.
Never.
Nope. I like snowboarding. So.
Yeah, with the nipple rings and the pot smoking, sure, I get it. Yeah,
Mohawks.
They're always mohawks.
Yeah, I gotta have a mohawk to snowboard.
When we were kids, we used to hit the scene now and again. We'd put on the skis, and when I was a junior high kid, my mother and the law firm that she worked for, we always would take a ski trip in the winter. So I got a kick out of it. But it has been now at this point, it's probably been 15 or 20 years. Anyway, there's a great video that I don't know if is it up on our website, this skiing disaster?
Yes.
Oh, God, this is funny.
And this reminds me of grade school and junior high when you take the school trip to the ski slope. Usually we'd go to Buck Hill or what's that other one?
Aspen Alps?
Afton.
Highland.
Afton. And, let's say we're at the ski slope for 5 hours. 3 hours and 45 minutes of that time we spend making an absolutely deadly jump.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And then the last hour before the bus takes us back to school, we all catapult ourselves off this jump until someone breaks their shin. And
Oh, yeah.
this was a ski slope in Alberta. There's a video going around of a dude hitting this damn jump, and he looks like he knows what he's doing because he tried to turn himself into some kind of a twisted backflip kind of a scene, right?
Yeah, it started cool.
He gets so high up in the air, he crashed into one of the chair lifts in midair.
It's all about timing.
And the chairlift kind of kicks him out into the trees. That's a fun video to watch. And that was the fun of skiing when we were kids, is somebody would always bangle themselves.
Oh, it was so fun, like sitting in the chalet or whatever, looking up the hill, watching people bomb it, and then all of a sudden you just see poof of snow.
Dude.
Yard sale.
The best. The best.
I like when you're in a chairlift and it happens like right under you.
I've told you the story of when my buddy just absolutely destroyed his knee in front of us.
Oh.
As we were going up the chairlift, he was the last guy down the hill. He didn't make it. We got on the chairlift. We're going up. So long, sucker. But we got to watch him come down the hill. And because we were all, fairly inexperienced skiers, he didn't have his knees bent. He wasn't braced at all for, the unexpected. He's straight-legged as if he's standing waiting for a bus to pick him up. Straight. He hit a mogul and it was just, Papa! And his knee was completely destroyed. It was hilarious.
His knee shot through his skin.
You mentioned the chalet, Wapple.
Yeah.
In grade school, there was a girl who came bombing down that hill, and we're watching her the whole time. She didn't know how to hit the brakes. She crashed into the chalet. So for the rest of grade school, her nickname was Chalet.
That's a pretty good nickname.
Yeah, for a girl, that sounds kind of cute.
But, okay. But speaking of the chairlift now, I got to tell this horrible story again. Josh, can I tell my horrible chairlift story again?
Sure.
It's a true story. When we were kids, we used to go out to Michigan with, again, my mother's law office. We would go to Michigan to a place called, I had it and I lost it. Powderhorn Mountain, I think it was called, in Michigan, okay? And we'd do this ski trip, and it was fun. So we had left for home on a Sunday and, coming home from Michigan. Monday night, we're watching the television news. Randy Shaver, maybe you remember this story because I believe I watched it on Care 11. A dude who was running the chairlift at that same resort got eaten up by the wheel. And died.
No, that's awful.
And it flung everybody, when a human body is going through that wheel, it's going to wiggle that friggin' cable, and people were flicked out of their chairlift chairs hundreds of feet, down onto the...
Oh, my
so
gosh.
it killed this guy, poor guy, who got, his glove caught in and he went through the wheel, and it flung everyone off their chairs. That was 24 hours after we left the place. I remember watching that like it was yesterday. I was frozen in fear.
Yeah, have you seen those videos on the internet now of when chairlifts break or something happens to it?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden the chairlift will go in reverse, and then you see these people just flying off of the chairlift because it's got so much speed coming around the turns.
Oh, I've never trusted those chairlifts.
Scares me.
No, you're not alone. I think all of us probably can say that, well, wait a minute. You've never been on one, Ashley.
Yeah, I have.
Wait a minute. I thought you said you've never been skiing.
She snowboards.
She's on a snowboard.
Snowboard. Yeah, you got to take those on a snow. Randy and Brad, so you don't know this fear. Every time I sat on one of those chairlifts, I was convinced, well, I'm going to slide off and break myself in half. And,
I don't have any good memories from going skiing. Nothing good happened.
Oh, I know this.
I could run down a few of the highlights.
I'd love to hear. I love this stuff.
Well, not being able to leave the bunny hill and crashing on that in front of your classmates.
And how old are you? And you couldn't handle anything other than
We went once. This is 6th grade. It was my first time skiing, but other kids were figuring it out faster than me.
Right.
Using the tow line, falling, and basically bowling everybody behind me.
Oh, dude, that's the worst.
The only time I ever went skiing that happened to me.
I won't even use it. If that's all they have, I'm not doing it.
He hasn't even gotten to the good stuff yet.
And then I thought, well, I'm going to warm up in the chalet, right? I'm going to go there, maybe get a cheeseburger or something. I'll sit with my classmates who happen to be a few girls. And all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. I had a problem. This was 6th grade. I peed my snow pants, went into my snow boots, and everybody knew. Just a giant puddle that they knew was not melted snow. 6th grade.
6th grade.
You're 12.
Josh.
12. You got pubes and whatnot. You're damn near.
I wet my snow pants.
And why couldn't you get to the bathroom?
I had an issue. I used to wet my pants almost every day. Did you say that? Why'd you say that?
And then you went home and you wet your brother's bed.
Oh, yeah, and then my cousins. Right.
I remember that you used to wet the bed. I didn't know you were also wetting your pants.
Well, it was. Yeah, I'd have to bring an extra pair.
And you said this
Why
was.
do you ask?
And you said this was 6th grade. So
Yes, I did.
I'm guessing the kids just forgot about it and never brought it up again.
You know what? I really didn't get crap for. I don't know why.
Oh, wow.
You're
Okay.
right. It seems like.
Well, maybe you weren't alone. Maybe there were others.
I went to school with a bunch of pant peers.
Yeah.
You're sitting there with the hot chicks from your 6th grade.
Yeah, it was just me and like 4 girls.
And then you just couldn't hold it. You're wetting yourself in front of them.
That's right.
And down into your boots.
Yep, moon boots.
And then you had to sit it.
I was already embarrassed. My parents had me put on moon boots.
You had to sit in it for the rest of the night.
That's correct.
Until you got home.
Affirmative.
Oh, I want to give poor 6th grade Josh a hug.
Hey, Barsaw Jesus, thank you. He said, I'm going to pee myself right now in solidarity. Can you do it around some of your female co-workers to really bring it home?
God dang. Oh, I had forgotten about that story. I love that story.
Sounds like you had a wonderful time at the ski slopes.
That was the one time I went skiing. Can't wait to go back.
Day.
That was the only time.
Yeah, that was it.
One and done.
Oh, wow. Dude, you know what's crazy is a listener just forwarded me the story of that poor guy dying at that ski hill I was telling you about in 1984.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just read that. Oof.
Got the story right here. Well, we don't need to bring these dark subjects to our next guest. It's no surprise he's back on the ice, and now the team's winning games. It's Marcus Foligno from the Minnesota Wild. Good morning, Marcus.
Good morning, guys. How you guys been?
Well, we've been all right. We've been sharing stories of pant wetting.
Don't bring this up in front of Marcus.
Well, he didn't hear us talking about wetting our pants, did you, Marcus?
No, I didn't. I was just following up the really nice story about some ski accidents.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, geez, here we go.
There was a terrible ski accident many years. We were talking violence on the ski slope, and then that evolved into pant wetting.
Natural progression.
Do you get into any of
How you
that?
get there?
Yeah.
Do you ski or snowboard? Do you like any of the any winter sports outside of hockey?
Yeah, like if I was to do that, I'd choose skiing. I've done snowboarding before. wasn't as good as it was. It's a lot tougher, I think, than skiing was. So I enjoy skiing, but that's something that when I retire, I'm definitely going to be doing come winter time. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy that.
So but I imagine you're contractually denied certain activities, right? If you told your coaches and your GM that you took a weekend and went skiing, they'd probably be very concerned.
Yeah, I think too, if you get in an accident, like when you ski and you're not supposed to be skiing, then your contract can get terminated and you lose out on money. So
jeez,
it's not smart. It's not smart. And knowing me, I'm not taking that chance. There's a good chance I'm falling down that ski hill. So.
I agree with you that riding on a set of snow skis is a lot easier than those friggin' snowboard. I mean, I guess I should say I only tried snowboarding once or twice.
For me, it's just the feeling of like both of my feet are stuck on one board. So like if I go somewhere, everyone's going like at least I got one. I can move my legs with skiing, but that was the thing with me. I don't know. I'm not smart like that, or can move the hips as good with the snowboard. So I'll keep it easy.
It is
pizza
scary.
down the hill.
It's scary when you go off a jump on skis and you lose a ski or something. Oh, that
Oh,
gets
yeah.
sketchy.
Oh, that's so terrifying.
Yeah,
That's happened to me before. Yeah, that's a bad feeling.
But like we covered, Wapple, it's a hell of a lot of fun to watch someone else do that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Think of that. You're doing that for someone else. You're doing a good deed.
Yeah.
My good deed for the day.
Yeah. On your way down, you know.
There's nothing better than when you're skiing and you stop in the middle of the hill, you get up to the side, you just wait for some action to start happening, some good falls, and you just commentate on them. So
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah. I mean, one of the greatest things I ever saw on a ski slope when we were kids was my twin brother hit a jump. We were about 13 or 14. Maybe it was the same weekend where this poor guy died, but my brother hit a jump and he came down awkwardly where all of his weight went onto his ski pole, which was jammed up against his neck. Oh, do you see what I'm saying?
Oh boy!
And it like pressed his Adam's apple out the back of his head. It was just, and it was. I mean, come on, that's a lot of laughs when you're 13 years old.
Knowing you as I do, I
Take
could
it off. Keep going.
Shake it off.
knowing your relationship, I could see you running over, just turning that ski pole around and stabbing him in the throat to finish the job.
Son of a bitch.
He
Yeah.
threw an axe at his own brother, Marcus.
I did. I threw an axe at my own brother.
Oh, wow. You know what? That's a good one. Nothing happened. No one got hurt.
I missed him.
Missed him. Damn.
Missed him by a little bit. So there you go. Hey, we're happy to see you back on the ice, of course. I think the last time we talked to you, you were still kind of in limbo, but here you are. You're back, and we're very happy to see it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's good to be back with the guys, and obviously it's nice to kind of keep winning here too. So I mean, you always want to come back in the lineup and help out. You don't want to be the reason why things go south. So it's good. We got a good thing going, and the fight's still there to make the playoffs. So all these games are really exciting right now.
Yeah, there you go. You beat Arizona last night 4-1 in front of the home crowd. You stay in town for a while for the Ducks. Coming up, what day is it today? Wednesday? Well, this is tomorrow night. You got to play the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah.
And
we got. I don't want to call it an easy schedule, but we have these are games upcoming that we got to collect points. So we can find ourselves in a really good spot, you know, come Sunday. So we're right there. We're going to keep fighting till the end.
And speaking of trying to collect as many points as possible, what did you think of the slick move there the other day against Nashville where you pull the goalie in overtime? I mean, did that surprise? Yeah. Did you know what the hell was going on in that situation?
No, I was dying on the bench. Before overtime, our power play coach, Jason King, comes over to us, and there's two units. Every power play, every team has two power play units. So I'm on the second one, net front, and I'm like, oh yeah, good call, because we got a terrible penalty right before overtime, and then they tied it up. So I thought they just assumed that maybe the ref was going to there might be a chance we get a power play in overtime. So I'm like, oh yeah, good call, 4-on-3, nice. Yeah, we'll get a power play here. And he gave me kind of like a double take, and I'm like, what? And then all I hear is Hines talk about pulling flour, and we're all just like, what are we? We're gonna pull flour? I've never heard of this. And then it happened it kind of happened beautifully. I mean, it was kind of towards the end of overtime. We didn't rush it, and they got caught with two forwards out there, which is always tough for 4-on-3. Usually you have two defensemen and the best penalty kill forward, and they had two offensive forwards. So I think that really helped us, and it was just perfect timing, and the whole thing worked out. And I had no idea, like not much of it. I think Hartman was the only guy that knew that if we were to get scored against on a 4-on-3, we would have lost the overtime points. So no one had that. I think it was probably better that way because the guys on the ice were probably more relaxed. And it was like, nothing to lose. And so it was interesting. We definitely got a lot of people's heads turned and what happened in the Excel Energy that day.
And I guess that's why the coaches get paid the big bucks, right? They know those rules.
I know. We should have said it was the player's idea to pull him, but yeah. No, it was a great
slick
call. I mean, it's cool to be in those scenarios. Like, you gotta do whatever it takes to get 2 points. So it's that was awesome, and for it to work so fast too. Like, it was just like kind of a couple passes in the back of the net on that. So it was awesome. You
had a scrap in that game too, didn't you, Marcus?
I did, yeah. You know what? I just thought that the XL needed a little bit of a boost. So I think we just the fans love that stuff, and I think it's just a rivalry game, and we had some bad blood against that team last game. They took advantage of maybe me and Pat Maroon being out injured last game, and they had some guys in their lineup act a little bit bigger than they are. So it was just something that was needed, and I think it was a good response. We scored right after, and I just thought the whole game we played really good and physical, and they're a heavy team, Nashville too. That's how they're built right now. So it's always hard playing against those teams, and got to show up. You got to get it going. Got everyone know that you're committed, and it was fun to bring everyone into the fight.
Do you have any idea how many career fights you have under your belt at this point?
I really don't. I'm guessing I got at least like 6 to 7 a year, and do the math. I'm not very good at it, but I don't know, I'm guessing over 50.
Okay. The reason I ask is I was just reading a couple articles recently. Star Tribune had an article a while back talking about how fighting is down across the league, but it's not completely a thing of the past yet. Do you think there will still be fighting in the NHL when you're an old man watching the game on television at home?
It's a great question. I do. Like, I think it's, I'm going to say history repeats itself, where we're going to go back into the 70s and it's going to be a gong show out there. But I think it's just going to be, I think hockey is the one sport that just, it needs it. The game is fast and emotional, and it's just something that can slow down the game. It's something that can, rise the game up a little bit and get it going again. I just think it's part of, like, to me, it's part of being like a teammate, the characteristic of it all. Like, when you stick up for teammates after something, you fight. I mean, it's just something that I think plays into how you can win a Stanley Cup with that kind of team toughness, and that's always going to be having a part of it with fighting. I mean, I think you're always going to have big guys. There's superstars on every team too, so I mean, you got to have guys that protect them. And I think if there's, we don't have, there's not 20 guys on every team that's a superstar. So I feel like if you got 1, 2, 3 guys that are your top players, you're going to have 1, 2 guys that are there to answer the bell if anything goes sideways for them. So I believe it's I don't know, just emotionally involved. You can ask anyone in that dressing room all over the league. I mean, they all want it. I mean, it helps police the game a little bit. So I think it's something that should never go away. But are we seeing it? Not as much, absolutely. But I think it's something that's always been there. I mean, hey, we've seen superstar and superstar fight. Like, it's just one of those where it's just the emotion of the game. You get cross-checked or whacked, or you feel like you're getting picked on. Some guys get ticked off. So it's I think it's a good thing to keep.
I hope you're right about all of that. I really do.
It looks like with your fight on Sunday, you have exactly 100 fights in the NHL.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Oh, shoot. Don't tell the boys that. They're going to make me put money on the board. That's what happens when you reach a milestone.
Does that sound right to you, Marcus? 100?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I've been in the league for, I think, my 13th year this year, 12th year. So, yeah, it's wow, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it goes back to 2007, 2008 season.
How do your hands look?
My knuckles are a little bit all over the map, but they're pretty good. I got one knuckle that looks like a planet, but they're solid. They're calcified. They're good. They're ready to go for the next one.
I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. I could talk about this kind of stuff all day long. I remember when I was a 20, 21-year-old guy, going off to the North Star games, and had a chance to meet some of the players here and there, and one of them was Basil McRae.
Oh, yeah. Unreal player.
Who was one of two. Tougher than a son of a bitch. He was one of two tough guys on the North Stars roster at that time period. Well, no, Platt was before this. This was Basil McRae and Shane Churla.
Oh, yeah.
Were the two tough guys on the. And when we met Basil McRae, when I looked at his hands, I thought I was going to vomit. Marcus Foligno, they looked like they had gone through a meat grinder.
Oh, yeah. Back in those days, too, I'm sure. Jeez.
So, 100 fights, okay. And I bumped into a list of, the career numbers. Most fights in a career for any player in NHL history? Could you take a guess, Marcus?
I mean, I'm thinking like Ty Domi, Rob Ray.
You got it. Ty Domi.
I'm thinking 600.
See, in front of me, it says 339 fights for Ty Domi.
Okay, yeah, I was going crazy, but yeah, that's still that's a lot. That's a lot.
You're probably, you were too young to have ever scrapped with any of these guys, but, I'll give you the top 10 here, from 1 to 10. Ty Domi, Tiger Williams. We were just talking about Tiger Williams a few days ago. And if you have any stories about these guys, through your dad or through connections, with you being a player, let us know. Chris Nyland.
Yeah, Chris Nyland was tough.
They called him
Montreal.
Knuckles. Yep, Montreal, Knuckles Nyland.
Yeah.
Bob Probert, Craig Berube, who just got fired from his head coaching job with the Blues. Am I correct about that?
Yeah. The only thing with Craig Berube is that guy was really tough, and I laughed because I remember we got playing against St. Louis in a game one time, and they didn't have anyone. Their guys were drawing on the bench, and I was lining up with the draw, and they're like yelling at me or tripping me from the bench. And I just look back at the bench, and I'm like, you know what's embarrassing? I'm like, your coach can beat the shit out of all you guys. And I'm like, I'm not scared of anyone on your team but your coach. And this guy just gave me one of those like wink and smirks, and I proceeded to, I think, fight one of their guys that game and beat him up. But it's just one of those things where Craig Berube I have a lot of respect for, because he was one of those guys.
That is funny.
You could tell, but he was a tough. Yeah, I mean, he was nails. He'd fight anyone at the right time to get his team going. That's something that as a guy that kind of looked up to when he played.
Marcus used a foul word, though, so right there. So we might.
Yeah, sorry,
It's okay. We might have had to hit the button there, but
I think we all loved that you did it.
Yep.
Definitely worth it.
Kind of stuff.
If you missed it, what Marcus said is that he taunted the St. Louis Blues by telling them the only scary guy on your roster is your friggin' head coach.
Yeah, exactly.
The others in the top 10, you mentioned Rob Ray. You know him well.
Yep. Rob Ray was obviously a Buffalo Sabre, and then he's the commentator in between benches. So he's another guy that makes me laugh too, because anytime you fought, he would give you the wink because he's in between the benches. So he would anytime you came out of the box, he would give you the thumbs up and look at you on the bench and want to talk about it. You're like, Razor, don't get so excited, because that guy would, and that guy was notorious for all of his equipment to come off when the fight, so he could show probably the ladies his pecs or something like that.
Yes.
He had no underarm or anything.
Rob Ray, you're right. Rob Ray would get topless. He would get topless.
He was topless, yeah.
Before he beat the living hell out of somebody.
And that's why he was so good at fighting, because no one can grab onto him. Trying to grab his skin and rip this guy's skin off his back. You can't grab anything.
They'd have to grab his nipples or something if they wanted to.
Throwing.
You're right about that. Marty McSorley, Donald Brashear, Jeff.
Just scary human beings.
Yes, Jeff Odgers. I was surprised to read him in the top 10, and Stu Grimson.
Oh, the Grim Reaper.
That's right. I love that.
Yeah,
stuff.
those are. I'm glad those guys are playing my era. They played in my dad's era. I don't know how my dad took pregame naps. That's all I know, because he had to fight some of those guys, and it's just every team had those guys. Every team had some guy just watering at the mouth, ready to fight. So. That's the difference between now and then, is that you don't have guys that wake up and are like, I'm going to hurt someone tonight. You got guys that are like, how do I get a goal and assist tonight? So
right.
It's a different mentality now.
And some of them were really scary looking, like Tim Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember Tim Hunter?
That guy's nose was a shovel.
Yes. he looked like a cartoonist drew him. Tim Hunter's face was just scary.
Yeah.
Dale Hunter, you could even mention him.
Yeah, those guys too.
Dave Schultz. At any rate, one more note here for you, Marcus. While we're talking about these all-time fighters, and I did briefly mention, do you think you'll be watching fighting in the NHL when you're an old guy laid out on the couch watching it on television? One of those top 10 fighters that I mentioned, Donald Brashear, is still playing hockey at 52 years old. He still plays. plays in like a men's league in Quebec, and you hear about Yager still playing at 50. Can you picture yourself still playing competitive hockey 50, 51, 2 years old?
Absolutely not. No, I will be watching it, and that is it. I don't know. Even if I'll put everything away, because I feel like even if I played some pickup or something like that, I would take it too serious, or something would come into my head that I had to cross-check someone or get the puck back. So I was gonna, when I had my time, when it's your time, you hang it up and you just be thankful that you played that long. So these guys that keep playing, I don't know how they do it, man. It's insane.
I gotta wonder how the legs carry them anymore. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. I saw Donald Brashear fight. He fought in that league.
He fought in this.
He fought. If you go on YouTube, there's a fight that he had in this league that he's in.
Good
he
Lord!
Just fought at 52 years of age. I'm like, this guy's been punched in the face enough. Why does he want to keep doing it? So
that is hilarious. Can you imagine? Yeah. You're a decent.
At that point, you take a bad fall, you're breaking a hip at that age.
Yeah. I just can't imagine being a 30-year-old guy playing in this, high-test Quebec, men's league and seeing Donald Brashear come out onto the ice.
Oh my God! Yeah, right.
I would be in a panic. Marcus, thank you very much, as usual, for your time. Good luck tomorrow night against Anaheim, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
You bet. You too. Marcus Foligno always visits us every 2 weeks as part of our Minnesota Wild Report, brought to you by Luther Kia of Bloomington. One final note, the Gals Pro Hockey Club has a home game tonight against Boston, 7 o'clock on Bally Sports North. What do you think about that, Brad Ryder and Randy Shaver?
Good stuff.
I think you covered it all.
We'll talk to you gentlemen very, very soon. Thank you.
Okay.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud. They lose control. They do their little circus act. They're a nuisance.
93X.
Grace here, customer service rep at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Our customers are our top priority, whether that's providing same-day service or solving a cooling issue for that addition on your home. Ashley, tell our listeners about this month's AC specials.
Get started on your spring cleaning checklist now. With the weather warming up, it's the perfect time to get your AC tuned up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get $40 off a furnace or AC tune-up, or double your savings and get $80 off when you get them done at the same time. Visit standardheating.com to save now.
The Ed Milet Show showcases the greatest peak performers sharing their journey, knowledge, and thought leadership.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
I'm a comedian. In my 20s, I wasn't in a company, and I don't know how marketing, sales.
Yeah, you're a brand, you're a company.
Yeah, and
like Jay-Z says, I'm a businessman.
Yeah.
To that. Remind me not to quote any hip-hop lyrics again. That was just a big miss.
When you first said it, I'm like, yeah, he's a businessman.
Yeah, I nailed it at the end. I pulled it together. It just took me a minute.
The Ed Milet Show is available on YouTube or wherever you listen.
You're listening to the radio. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
And there you go. Yeah, the damn 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. That's us. Thank you for listening. You're a great crowd. You are. And because of that, we're going to try and keep it going. Anyone got a side gig going right now? Anybody?
No.
Nope.
Don't have one yet.
And you privileged trust fund babies over in that other studio. Of course you don't have a side gig.
Yeah, I tried
You guys
doing
haven't
that.
paid your dues.
I tried doing that. I don't know if you guys remember, maybe 6 months ago, and it was way too difficult.
You're bartending.
We definitely remembered that.
Wait a minute.
Based on what time you'd show up to work.
You did sign up. You did sign up to wait tables until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
It makes the best kind of money.
There's no
Bartender and server.
other side gig, no other hours you could take.
I guess. I'm sure there was. Yeah.
That did come off kind of silly that you thought you could do that.
Well, that's what I have experience in. So.
I have my only fan page.
Yeah.
I guess.
I've been thinking about doing door dashing during lunchtime and stuff like that.
Oh.
I wonder if that'd be fun. I loved delivering pizzas.
See, I don't mind driving around, and during noon, at noon, I'm usually napping. So it's might as well make some money.
But I'd be that guy that ended up in the stupid news for a story where I was eating somebody's food. I'd be too tempted.
I agree, man. The other day I got DoorDash, and instead of the fries coming in a package, they came in a little boat. And I was like, how did that guy not just take one? Maybe he did. I don't know.
He probably did.
Cubby and I had to have side gigs years ago.
Oh, man, many, many years.
So we didn't have rich mommies and daddies like you kids over there.
Well, I drove Uber after the show back in my last gig.
Oh.
I'd get done with the show, and then I'd go drive Uber for a while, and it was rough, but it was needed to be done.
Every once in a while, I'll pick something up if I can.
There's nothing like a dangerously tired Uber driver.
I know.
Yeah.
And then I stopped doing it, and I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have let this bother me as much as it did, but I picked up some dude. He was going to the airport, business guy, and he's like, wait a minute. Didn't I hear you on the radio this morning? You're that poor you got to drive Uber after the show? Man,
Yeah, I would stop too.
You should get in my business, man. I'm going to the airport right now. I make money, bro. And it was just so humiliating.
That's how he talked?
Yeah.
Oh.
I would stop as well.
I might have exaggerated it a touch, Josh.
Yeah, I was going to say, he doesn't sound like a finance bro or whatever you called him. He sounded different to
That
me.
felt good. So the guy made you feel like garbage all
Yes.
the way to the airport. Because he's such a big shot.
Yeah.
He's everybody and you're nobody.
I'm nobody.
Yeah, there was a local news lady, friend of ours, who she worked at a retailer selling women's clothes on the side, for various reasons. And she used to get that too. Like, whoa, why are you here? You're on TV, that kind of thing.
Yep.
You ever pick up anybody famous?
No. Mm-mm.
Driving.
Usually just hungover people, or because I do it on Saturday, Sunday mornings too. Hungover people trying to get away from their one night stand, like just get me home, man.
You think if radio doesn't work out for you, and there's a chance, could you do that full time? You think?
I don't think it's sustainable to do it full time.
No, why?
Yeah. You just don't make enough money.
So much wear and tear on your vehicle too.
Yeah.
I guess I thought those folks were doing all right, but I never really asked too many questions.
Yeah, there's a huge thing in Congress or whatever to stop Uber and Lyft in the cities here.
To stop it from happening?
Oh yeah, we play those commercials.
Yeah, Uber and Lyft are trying to pull out because the drivers aren't getting enough money for what they have to pay for gas.
Well, it doesn't seem right.
But someone's trying to stop Uber and for what reason?
Because the drivers aren't making enough.
Oh, so it's a pay our people more or we're going to shut it down?
Yep.
Oh, that kind of a move. I thought someone was trying to stop it because they thought it was wrong or something. Or anyway, there's plenty of basic side gigs out there you can take. For anyone who's looking for a side gig, here are some interesting second jobs folks have been signing up for lately. Like I said, there's plenty of basic side gigs. These are out of the ordinary ones. Tell me if... And some of this stuff sounds familiar. We've talked about these type of jobs in past conversations. And I believe these out of the ordinary side jobs comes from a website called, I hate the title, Life Hacker. But anyway.
That's a good site, actually. They got a lot
okay. I don't like the name, but
I hear you.
I'll get over it.
I understand why.
Lifehacker.com. You could be a pooper scooper.
I've thought about doing that, having a pooper scooper business. I've got plenty of experience, do it quite often. I don't mind the work.
And with your dogs, your back must hurt from scooping those turds.
Well, I got big back muscles now.
Yeah.
Biceps, triceps.
Yeah, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
You think you could look at different variations of dog feces day after day after day, Josh?
I'd love it. Dream job.
At least you're outside too. That's nice. Get some fresh air.
It'd be brutal in like normal winters when we have a bunch of snow at this time, because then all the snow melts and you have more poop than you would expect.
Yep.
Well, that's why I buy a flamethrower.
And also, you're barking up the wrong tree if you're trying to sell fresh air to Josh as a bonus to... it sounds simple enough, right? You bag up turds.
Yeah,
I don't
instant,
know.
You see your work is done. You're making people happy. The dogs are probably excited about it.
Maybe you take the turds to a farmer or something that could use it for. But I just don't know if I could look at soft, greasy, wet dog. I just
greasy.
I'll take it all.
What am I over exaggerating?
No, just that word.
I don't think that could be my thing, but it says here now then you can earn around $50 an hour scooping up somebody else's dog turds. If you get enough customers, you could make a pretty decent amount of money. They say it's an easy business to start. You don't need any special equipment. Just contact your neighbors and offer up your services.
Yeah, and I love puns. A lot of times they have names like duty calls and things like that, just poop-related puns.
Oh. Sorry, that was just pure gas
I think it'd be perfect. Dr. Pooh Little. That's what I'm looking up.
I hate that I like that so much.
This is something I've never heard one word about before today. Renting out your baby things. If you have baby clothes and strollers, what else do you do with a baby?
Rent them.
This is so odd to me. You can rent out your baby things for families who are traveling. So a family comes to your town, they've got a baby or two, they're going to be in your area for a short period of time. It's easier and cheaper for them to rent cribs, toys, and other baby stuff
I bet it is.
than to transport their own. So there's companies out there, one called Baby Quip, one called Traveling Baby.
I wonder if Airbnb has a filter for that.
Well, there's a lot of those.
Like a search filter, you can, condense your search, so then you could put like baby items. Or
Got
something.
a crib in there?
Yeah.
So it says here you can make as much as $1,200 a month. Schlepping is the word here that they use. Out your baby gear. Dang. Now, I don't have any babies. Wow. I'm very thankful that I'm not a parent. I'd be miserable at it, and I'm not envious of anyone who's reproduced. So I know nothing about kids and how they operate or anything. But Josh, you're going to go to Chicago for a week, 2 weeks. Would you contact someone and rent someone else's baby clothes and things like?
No, I wouldn't even consider it.
Yeah.
Shoot, you can rent out your car. You can rent out, like, if you have a pool. I played pickleball at some rich dude's house. We rented his pickleball courts.
What?
All that kind of stuff.
You did what now? I'm sorry.
Played pickleball with our guy Dr. P, our regular doctor.
Sure.
And he ended up finding some website where you can, find rich folks who have these things and rent them out. So we paid some dude to let us play pickleball at his outdoor court.
Oh, wow. He rents out his court.
Yeah, same guy rents out a pool, all kinds of stuff.
This stuff gets really weird. It really does.
Bought some weed.
Did you?
Nice.
Yeah, I love weed.
Marijuana from?
I'm in.
Some of this stuff is really odd. I mean, the baby gear rental is really odd to me.
Maybe I can make a weed rental. Bongs, blunts, joints.
Well, how do you rent a joint?
Yeah, I just thought of that one.
Maybe like a joint
I
roller.
think that's called drug dealing, Waffle.
Waffle, for my sake, go ahead and do it. Just don't talk about it. Friend services. How many of us have them?
Friends.
You can get paid to just hang out with someone who's lonely.
Oh yeah, wasn't there those people that would hourly you could rent them to like hug you?
Yes, I've heard of that.
You can
Snuggle,
snuggles,
spoon. We are so psychotic now. we just are. In this particular case, friend services. You get paid to hang out with someone in a non-sexual way, just to provide them some comfort. Rent a friend is one particular example of a website that I guess offers this service. You can earn up to $50 an hour. Come on.
I feel so sad typing in rentafriend.com.
Yeah.
I'm going to set up my profile now.
Is there an easy-to-use app?
And don't get us wrong, or me wrong, or us, however you look at it. To be lonely is a totally normal thing. To offer up your services, I don't know. That seems so odd to me.
Yeah. You do kind of have to have some sort of ego where you're like, I'm so cool. People want to hang out with me so much they'll pay me to hang out.
You see, that's what crossed my mind, too.
Like, I'm that cool to hang.
You sounded just like the guy that made fun of you at the airport.
God, yeah. I turned into him. Are you?
do that, guy.
And maybe that's the wrong way to think about it, because I'm not picturing these people as being very, very sympathetic to the lonely. I'm picturing them as being oddballs.
Maybe taking advantage of the lonely in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting paid to...
Or they just love to talk. Just don't stop.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe they...
I don't know. I guess I'd have to think about it more. Well, Monday I'm going to see this guy, Ernie. He lives in Stillwater. And then Tuesday, there's a lonely lady in Hastings. Her name is Molly. I'm going to go hang out with her. That just,
that is weird.
It sounds like something crazy people would sign up to do. We're not done with this yet. Plenty of basic side gigs out there. We got some of the more out of the ordinary ones, and we'll wrap it up when we come back.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
It's a complete crap.
There you go. We were having a conversation a few minutes ago about some interesting side gigs, side jobs. There's plenty of, regular gigs out there for you. But for those of you who don't want to, put a few hours in the afternoon over at the neighborhood bait shop, you want something a little different. We found something on lifehacker.com talking about some of these more out-of-the-ordinary side gigs. We talked about folks who scoop poop. Go into someone's backyard, scoop up their dog turds for them. Rent out your baby gear to families that travel. You're coming to my town? Fine, here. You can have this crib for $10 and the baby shoes and whatever else you do with a baby. I actually got a text from somebody. A listener says we go to Florida every year and we rent strollers, car seats, and high chairs. It's easier not to pack those items.
A few people text in and said it's way, way worth it. They do the same thing.
Yeah, how do you check a stroller at the airport? I bet that's just a pain in the butt.
There are, what do we cover? Friend services. Someone pays you to come to their house, hang out with them. Hold their hand, whatever they need. You're a rent-a-friend. Where was this text message? A listener says, I think I could be a great rental friend, says this listener. It's a dude. He says, unless she's hot, then I'll just freeze up and I'll be really weird. Rent-a-friend. It's such a different time nowadays. Okay, I mentioned that some of these were, really, wait a minute. I was about to say that they're odd. I established that already. Some of these we have discussed before. That's where I was going next. And this one sounds familiar, but maybe I'm wrong. Selling your underwears.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be very successful with that.
I mean, if somebody wanted to offer me cash, I'd be more than happy to exchange it, but I don't think that offer is going to come my way.
Somebody just DM'd me like 2 days ago asking if I would do that.
Did you?
No.
But
did they offer a certain amount of money?
No.
Did they go on the side of 694?
Do you guys know anything about this? Because I don't understand. Is this a sexual thing, or is this for people who don't want to pay for underwears?
It's a sexual thing.
Definitely sexual.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, because they want them worn, and they don't want them washed.
Yeah, my girlfriend used to be a flight attendant, and she said that people would offer to have, like, the panties or underwear.
The
and
nylons.
stuff like that. Yep.
What does that have to do with being a flight attendant?
Just people wanting her underwear.
You're saying
because she's like a cute little flight attendant wearing a skirt, stuff like that.
Yep. People traveling from all over the world.
But you're saying while she was working, customers would say, "Can I buy your underwear?"
Yep, and then they would pay more money if they got the underwear after the flight, so she would work in it and build up sweat.
She had more than one person face-to-face offer to buy her underwear.
Yes.
And that's how she affords her townhouse.
Exactly.
All right, so it's a sexual thing. I thought for a minute it just had to do with broke folks. They can't afford underwears. Selling your hair. That one also sounds familiar. Yeah. We talked about that not that long ago, didn't we? Right.
We did.
Selling your hair. Line standing.
Oh,
we had
I've heard of this.
Yeah, we had an intern that did that for a sales guy. He got paid, I think it was like $50 an hour, more than you ever make in radio.
Do you remember what he was standing in line for?
A condo.
Okay.
There was
yes.
There was a condo building opening up in Minneapolis, and he wanted to make sure he got on the list to buy one.
Yeah, that would have been a better job back in the day when you actually had to stand in line for concert tickets, sporting events.
Or back in the day when the big video game release was coming out, like a new system, people would camp on the sidewalk for a PlayStation 2 for, weeks on end.
That doesn't happen anymore?
Not really.
Okay. I know the concerts doesn't happen anymore, but nerds don't still get in line for the latest video game?
You pre-order stuff or you have it delivered.
Yeah, I remember working at McDonald's. We worked right next to a GameStop, and we would always change our hours later if there was a release at midnight.
Oh, sure.
All right. Line standing. There are companies, one called Same Ol' Line Dudes. Same Ol' Line Dudes. All right. Another site called TaskRabbit that have listings, help wanted. They want line standers. And typically you can make about $25 an hour waiting in line for somebody else. Got a text from a listener that says, I received a case of beer and a large pizza to wait in line for a stranger once. That's wife plowing Jesus. He didn't say what he was standing in line for, but he got a case of beer and a large pizza. And then selling your poop. This is something that we've covered before. It's like a medical thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Thankfully, there's nothing sexual about that, at least that I know of.
No, I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
Rule 34, right? Isn't that what that's called?
Mm-hmm.
This is
old Cleveland steamer, they call it.
A listener texted in and said, well, you can rent out a womb.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
I didn't think that deeply about what we were talking about. What are they referencing there? Like a surrogate mother?
Yep.
All right, rent out a womb. I thought this was a really interesting idea for a business from a listener that goes by the name of More Anxiety Than Hair Jesus. If we're talking about an odd side gig, something that you don't hear of very often, that I think could make some real money, he says, I always thought it would be a good business idea for someone to go around and field dress deer for people during hunting season.
That's a really good idea.
I almost wonder if there is something like that.
I could have used that this year for sure.
There could be. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, and then you don't have to pull the deer out, all that work too.
Yeah,
God dang.
Like,
that'd be a good idea.
Biggest workout of my life.
They have those game farms, right? You go shoot a bunch of birds, you bring the birds back, and then you just grab some out of the fridge that are all good to go for you. That kind of thing. So I wonder if there's something like that.
We went to like a fish farm one time in Wisconsin, and you could just sit there at a pond, and you would just constantly catch massive walleyes.
I bet I know exactly what one you're talking about. And then they like clean them for you, cut the heads off, all that.
Yeah, and then you could even pay extra, and I think you could go to the restaurant and they'd make a meal or something too.
Oh wait, can't you bring a deer to a meat market and they do it for? I guess I don't know.
Yeah, but we're talking about cleaning the sumbitch.
Yeah, you don't want you want to do that in
not cleaning,
like
gutting.
Gutting, pulling it out of the woods and all that.
Right,
tough work.
Can you picture a dude just walking around St. Louis County, in early November, and he's getting paid to just field dress every deer? He's just
walking around in orange the whole time.
He's soaked in blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Knife walking around.
He's carrying a knife, right? You'd be terrified. How much money you got on you, he says. I'd run for my life. But that does seem like a really good idea.
Yeah.
You'd be one tired bastard when you were done with your day.
You'd be ripped, though.
He's just wearing a William Shatner mask and doesn't say a word.
That's exactly. If you didn't know, the professional field dresser was in your county that morning or that afternoon, you would be terrified. He's just, money. Give me money.
Best of luck to No Rest for the Wicked Jesus. He's got a performance review today. I'm gonna give him mine. You're perfect in every way, and you deserve a raise.
That was nice of you.
And we'll end the show with a couple of shout-outs to the Brotherhood on the Road. Incredibly attractive, tattooed millwright Jesus has embarked on a 15-hour drive to Louisiana. And Redbeard gold miner Jesus is headed off to the Alaskan wilderness for the summer.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Get started on your spring cleaning checklist now. With the weather warming up, it's the perfect time to get your AC tuned up with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get $40 off a furnace or AC tune-up, or double your savings and get $80 off when you get them done at the same time. Visit standardheating.com to save now.